And our cameras are messed up. Welcome to Forged at the Table. I am Charles, and tonight, unlike the past couple nights, I will be your dungeon master for this, the 10th episode of The Long Road, our flagship campaign here on Forged at the Table. Tonight, it is called What's Love Got to Do with It? What's love but a secondhand emotion? So tonight is going to be a wild night. We're going to get things started here in just a second. I've got a bunch of announcements, but before we get to those wonderful announcements, let me go ahead and send it around the horn to all of our wonderful players. If Shauna, we'll start with Shauna. Jens, thank you for the Twitch Prime subscription. Let's get some of those anvils in the stream for our lovely Jens, please. So yeah, Shauna, tell everybody who you are and a little bit about you, please. And your character, of course. All right, Wiki Wobble Fizz, Danny. Belton Cobblebolt Connor. Oh, hey, wait. Yeah, they can't hear you guys. Shut up, guys. Shut up. I didn't turn your mics on. This is one of them nights. One of them nights. This is live television. This is live television. This is what happens. I shouldn't be here right now. So we're going to do this all over again. Shauna, tell us a little bit about Regina Wanda Golt, please.
Damn it, I made a cute pet name for Belton and nobody heard it. I'm disappointed.
I'm not.
He's my Belty Boobs now. There. Everybody knows Belton.
Oh, gosh.
Wiki.
Hi, I'm Danny. I play Wiki Wobble Fizz, pudgy little gnome that loves food. And I've been playing D&D for just under 2 years now, I think.
Belton.
Hey, I'm Connor. I'm playing Belton, a halfling sorcerer, whose currently only goal in life is to get away from Regina.
Talina Halfheart.
Hi, I'm Jeannie. I play Talina Halfheart. She is a halfling and loves to sneak around and maybe fling some magic once in a while. And yeah, that's where we're at.
And Bezumin Hanali.
I'm Danny, and I'm playing an elven ranger with an addiction to pickles.
Addiction to pixels. Pickles or pixels. So you're a graphic designer by day and a pickle connoisseur by night. All right, so let's get on with the announcements, and then we'll get right back into this show here. First off, I'd like to give a huge, massive shout out to the folks over there at Kobold Press and Wolfgang Power for the love that they have shown the channel so far and the giveaways that will be happening sometime this next week during the next RPG Ramblings, which I believe is going to be Tuesday night. Thank you for the wonderful books, and thank you for the giveaway items and all of that. Also, to Chris Pramis and Dylan over there at Green Ronin, they have jumped on board with a bunch of other companies, and they are sending us both a Fantasy Age hardback core rulebook and a Dragon Age core rulebook. Some love that's going to be shown here on the channel. We have a giveaway tonight. We have two of them, as a matter of fact. We are going to be giving away another Easy Roller dice package. It includes the Leatherette dice cup, a set of fabulous dice, a dice bag, and a gunmetal steel D6 for your use. You can either use that to roll or to throw at the people at the table that are annoying you. It's very effective.
Yes.
On top of that, we do have spots open in some new games. We have a spot in a second Grim game. Hey, Harold, thank you. TM gets +5. Hell yeah! And tonight it's going to get used.
Belton gets disadvantaged.
So at this time, we have a new spot in the second Grim game. This is going to be every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. Here on the channel, it's every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. The Grim campaigns. This one is the Further Adventures of the Grim Company. This is also going to be based in the Midgard setting, which is created by Kobold Press. We also have an opening in, if you happen to tune in last night for our Modern Verse D&D 5e modern game that was ran by Weiss Girl, our very own Maya. She's turning that into a campaign, and as such, we have an open spot in that. That is going to be bi-weekly on Fridays starting the 18th of May at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We have one spot in that game if anybody's involved or interested in that. Also, we have 2 art contests that are going on here on the channel. We have one for a brand new emote for our Twitch stream here for the $25 or the $24.99 tier 3 emote. If you want to get involved in that, you can go ahead and get on our Discord, submit what it is that you have ready to go, and you stand the chance of winning a $50 gift certificate to Miniature Market if you win that. And then we have another competition going on that is for we're looking for somebody that wants to get involved and draw us a new channel logo. If your logo is selected, and I'm sorry, I just got distracted by Devin Ruby. Not that how you doing, Devin? If your submission is selected for that logo, you get a $50 gift certificate to Miniature Market and a $50 gift certificate to that woman's website right there, TaruInc.com. So you can go buy yourself some lovely things from Devin Rue's website. So that's what you stand on winning with that. If you want to get involved here at Forge at the Table, all you have to do is drop a follow on our stream here and then get involved on our Discord. We have some more openings coming up in May, I believe. We have a couple more campaigns. As a matter of fact, I know we do. We have a pirate campaign that's coming up. It's going to be alternating Fridays, so you'll be able to get involved in that. Let's see. Anything else that we need to talk about? Oh yeah, please stay tuned after tonight's show, because as per usual, we are going to go ahead and hit somebody up with a raid, share the love, and help somebody else move on up the ranks here in the Twitchverse and all that sort of thing. So one person's already stepped forward. Harold dropping the 800 bits on us. Thank you. Giving us a 5, giving me a +5 bonus. The thing to keep in mind though, folks, also while you're spending those bits, is that is going for the Bubbles and Forge t-shirt production and art drive that we've got going on. There's 25 days left to go. We're already at 31%. That is $500. And that is going to be going to making shirts, and it's also going to provide 10 of those shirts, 5 Bubbles, 5 Forge shirts that we're actually going to give out to you guys as a giveaway and promotion. So again, we have a giveaway tonight. We have 2 of them. This is the first one that we're giving away. If you type this word into the chat just one time, if you do it more than once, Nightbot will not like you and he'll kick you out of it. But type that in to chat just once and you'll win one of these lovely Easy Roller dice packages. These things are incredible. They sent me like 50 of them. We're down to less than 10. So these are the last few. So if you would like to win an Easy Roller dice cup, an Easy Roller set of dice, a dice bag, and one of those awesome gunmetal D6s, go ahead and kick those out there. Yes, and Weiss Girl right there is doing the art for the bubble shirt. So you're going to help support a starving college girl and help get her some fame and love and all that other good stuff, whatever that means when you're a streamer. But anyways, last episode, episode 9 of The Long Road. Fuck, man, I'm not even here tonight. We left off having just seen Grillmesh break down at finding out that his brother Artris have not been seen for several decades and had been serving the company of Solemn in a place known as the Dragon Isles. Grillmesh had learned that his brother had been assassinated or murdered and broke down in front of Talina and Wiki Wobblefizz and spilled tears upon tears, drenching both of them. We left with Belton Cobblebolt, our brave and hunky halfling, hanging from the disco heart up in the love room upstairs, with Regina standing, her naked flesh bared for all to see in that room, which means Belton, standing there with a leather and buckled apparatus that for some reason Belton seems to be fearful of. Belton had just missed his chance to possibly get out of the room when Grillmesh showed up, but only Regina was able to discuss things with him. We left Talina, Wiki, and their new friend Bezamin downstairs with an amazing miniature barrel of pickles, to which Bezamin has been enjoying, Wiki not so much, and Talina sitting there kind of looking at both of them. We had a new being enter into the inn and made his way quickly through the inn and into the back room. Nobody quite knows exactly who this individual is, although the players have a pretty damn good idea as to who it is. So that's where we left off. This week we open upon our adventurers sitting in the velvet curtain booth. Inside the gilded nymph sits Talina on one side, Wiki Wobblefizz and Bezamin on the other side. A slightly open barrel of pickles on the table, the spicy, peppery dill flavor seeping out from inside of it. Wiki, you still have a bit of a tingling, your teeth somewhat vibrating in your head from the heat. You do have a single blister, almost like a cold sore, upon your lip, which is kind of swollen just a little bit. Your face still drained of blood. The three of you sit there with the pickles, and Talina, you look down and you see the box with the dark wooden box with the silvered engraved leaves on the corners and the silver latch sitting there. The delivery from Bezamin Hanali from the Abbey of the Four Winds, a place from your guys' past, someplace you weren't sure you would ever hear of again. But you are indeed sitting there with the box, and sitting right next to it is still the small scroll tube, which has the piece of parchment still drying out, a little soggy. The smell, that crimsony kind of acrid, coppery smell, still seeping and languishing about it, of Cedric's finger wrapped in the piece of parchment that had the skull with a simple dagger through it, crudely drawn, the parchment not being of very high quality, nor was the picture. You can hear a bit of a celebration type atmosphere erupting in the back room, and you can only imagine that it had something to do with the individual that crossed through the tap room carrying the carpet bags. When he walked by, you did notice that in his left hand, his offhand, along with the carpet bag, he held a rather long, spindly, thin black umbrella. He made his way into the back with Black Barrel. Above the bar, you can still see the four kind of oblong, strangely like either vase-like or fish bowl-ish kind of things up there. And you can see that there's images flickering in all four of them. Very much like a modern-day sports bar to some. And you can see that on the one that was there before, you can see again, there's this view of the port down in the harbor, or one of the many harbors here in the Port of Storms in Stormhaven, where it seems to be that there's some kind of fire or something raging, because there's several black, huge plumes of smoke rising up from what appear to be several ships now docked in that particular harbor. You sit there, Talina, looking down. You see the box, and you see the scroll tube, leather wrapped, that contains the thumb of your lost friend and the piece of parchment. Pickles kind of surround
you.
you.
Look at the piece of paper that was around the thumb, did we?
Wiki did. Wiki looked at it, and that's when Wiki discovered that there was a simple black skull, like just a line or a crudely drawn, almost like with charcoal or chalk. That of like almost a pirate skull with a dagger driven down through it, coming out of the bottom. It was missing its bottom jaw, so it was very crudely, whether it was a message or whatever it was, but it was done in like a chalk-like substance. You remember that there was still some powder remaining on it.
Okay. Wiki, do you feel good enough to maybe talk about what might be in this box that was sent to us?
It's part of Cedric, and it's wrapped in a parchment. There's a symbol in it. Looks like a symbol of a skull with a dagger driven through the top of it. I don't recognize it. Do you think you could take a look and see?
I'll look. Especially while we're waiting for Regina and Bolton to make
It's awfully convenient that we get this other box from Mother Adamira offering help in kind of danger. At the same time, I mean, they might be related.
It's possible. I'll take a look at the scroll, kind of trying to avoid touching the thumb.
Okay, so you're gonna reach down, you kind of undo the fastening clip, and like I said before, it kind of it's like a tube, but it kind of folds up from the center, like almost like a rounded box, and inside you see immediately as you open it up, the parchment inside, kind of dry, immediately kind of unfolds itself, and inside you can see where the skull is at, the dagger and all that, but the center part of it is actually blocked off by the now kind of dried, slightly drawn in finger that, again, it looks, you can see where at the first knuckle it looks like the thumb had literally been not chopped off of Cedric's body but ripped off, because you can see long pieces of stretched flesh, and it all looks very torn. Not even like it was taken off with a jagged knife. It definitely looks like it was ripped off.
Okay. And there doesn't appear to be anything else on that parchment, just that symbol.
The only thing that's on that parchment is the skull that was drawn with the dagger through it. If you wish to pick it up and take a closer look at it, you can do that.
I will do that.
Okay, go ahead and roll me, as you pull it out, go ahead and roll me an investigation.
20.
Wow. Okay. You pick up the piece of parchment. You let you pull it out. You kind of avoid the finger and let the finger fall back into the box, and it falls back in. At first, it would have been a soggy kind of, but it's dried out a little bit more, so it's not quite as dry. It's very dry sounding as you pull off the piece of parchment, and you begin to take a look at it. You notice that the chalk, or whatever it was, chalk or charcoal that was used to draw that skull, it is indeed very powdery, and as you kind of fold it open and kind of hold it out, you actually notice as bits or flakes off of it actually kind of dance across the paper and fall off to the side, and as they do this, there's a bit of a silvering kind of a quality to it. Not necessarily full-on metallic, but the way it kind of interacts with the light and interacts with moving across the paper or the parchment, it gives off kind of a reflective quality, like a little bit of a silvering quality. At this time, though, as you're looking at it, there seems to be a very loud kind of cacophonous sound at the front doors to the Gilded Nymph. And again, the nymph on this particular day, because we're still day, we're not even at noon yet, on this particular day is exceedingly empty. The only people that you see in here are maybe a couple of maybe first mates, that sort of thing, and one or two maybe marketplace workers, that sort of thing, as there seems to be something major happening down at the harbor, and it's pulled most of the people away. You do notice across the room a shorter, kind of squat man, dark hair kind of billowing out from underneath a very low topped, wide brimmed hat. You recognize the style as being Gervais, and you notice that there are two slender, slimmer figures, one sitting on each side of him in the booth. That is pretty much halfway across the room from you at a separation wall. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of people in here, other than you, them, the workers in the back, and now this new figure that kind of comes walking in. You notice a fat, rotund individual dressed brightly in gay colored clothes of yellows and bright blues, everything kind of off matching. There's orange in there, there's lavender in there, there's fuchsia in there, there's black, white, there's a violet green in there. There's all of these different colors mixed in there. His pants are striped with maybe 10 different colors, bushing out and boofing, very, very floofy as they're tucked into these very, very tight knee-high boots. You can see the laces on the back of them are straining to hold in these enormous calves. The fat legs, even though his pants are poofed out and very piratey, that kind of a thing, you can see when he moves that there's flab or fat underneath shifting around of its own accord. This comes up to a very, very large round belly and a long kind of a coat hung over it with a vest of very bright fuchsia colored. It looks to be leather or some other kind of shiny material. It doesn't go quite down to his belly button because his belly sticks out underneath of it, folding the flaps of it kind of up. But his belly is covered by more of this gay colored cloth and all that. It comes up to where his long coat is. It comes up to a very rotund, round, cheery kind of face that looks a bit frustrated at this moment in time, although he's got very Rubik kind of red cheeks, very flaming orange hair that falls down in elaborate curls that shimmer and shine as if freshly oiled and set for the morning. On top of his head, he has cocked to one side a rather odd-looking large bowler hat, or it would appear to be a bowler hat, but it's been pinched at 4 points. So it comes and it sits kind of off, and it reminds you a bit of a stovepipe. Strangely enough, it's strangely wide-billed, short-hatted, and it rises up just far enough to almost be a bit annoying. And as he stands there and puts one foot forward, you see what might possibly be causing his distress as you hear this sound come out of a covered box or something that he is carrying in his right hand. As this sound comes emitting out of this and floods into the gilded nymph, you can see his hand shake to where he snaps over with his other hand to try and control it, as this box, roughly about 3 feet in length, 2 feet wide and about 2 feet tall, covered, shakes wildly and madly, and you can hear something kind of scraping at the floor, snarling, chirping, and you hear a faint clacking or clicking sound inside. He fights with this thing all the way in, and he takes a seat at a booth maybe 13 to 15 feet away from you, sets it down. It scrapes heavily on the ground, indicating that there is indeed weight inside of this thing, and you can hear whatever's in there snarling and scratching as he does this. You see him put a small bag up onto the table. He reaches in and he pulls out what appears to be dried meat or something like that, lifts up the edge of it and sticks it in, and you hear something snap, snarl, and begin to devour whatever it was he gave to you. But yes, the parchment does have a skull hanging on it. The skull itself appears to be rather tired looking, strangely enough. It looks like they tried to bring across something stylized. And speaking of tired, upstairs, Belton, Your arms and legs begin to shake a bit from sitting there and holding on to the heart chandelier, the heart disco ball. You hold on to this ball and you feel your muscles kind of begin to shake, as they do when somebody is tired and tense but having to hold on to it. It feels like you've been hanging here for days when it's only been just a little while. And as you cast a glance back down over your shoulder into the room, you see the outline of the bed, and it very much is just an outline because your eyes are looking at Regina. She is sitting there, her entire naked form there for you to take in. And you can see that she's indeed taking in your naked form as you're hanging on to the disco ball of love. In her hand, kind of tossed over her shoulder a little bit, she's holding that apparatus that you remember for all too well from the night before as being more than capable of holding you in place. Your eyes drag back over the bed and you can see the bolts like apparatus on the bed where this thing hooked into to further restrain the person inside of it. Your muscles tired and aching. I need a strength check. Jackwalk, 500 bits. Have some bits for stuff, Belton. So Belton gets some bits.
+5 to my roll.
Oh,
thank you, Jackwalk.
boy. All right, so with that, Belton, you feel your muscles begin to strain and tense. The ache, the lactic acid building up. I need a strength check from you, good sir.
I do not need that +5. I don't think. That's going to be an 18 to hold on.
You managed to hold on, your muscles continuing to ache, however, and I am going to give you 1 point of exhaustion.
Ah, crap.
So all further stat rolls, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not know what that means, are at disadvantage. Regina, you're sitting there almost like a waiting mother for her child to arrive. Maybe that might not be the best way of doing it, but that's what we're going to go with. You see Belton, his naked body hanging from you just maybe 3-4 feet out of your reach. His frame, his muscles tensed and vibrating as he holds on to the disco ball of love. What are you going to do?
Well, I can see he's getting tired. I'm concerned for his safety, and I really want him to just come down. Belton, just come down. You're exhausted, you're tired, you're shaking, just come down.
No, Regina, I won't come down. Just, you need to go stand by the door, put your clothes on, and we can talk about this. But I'm not coming down. Get the door open. We can go down, have some breakfast, and we can talk about this. Just go wait by the door.
I'm going to stomp my foot and put my hand on my hip and just glare.
All right.
Like, you can see it on my face. I don't comprehend. That's not what we're supposed to be doing.
And it seems that just about every time, Belton, that Regina speaks, you can smell that what is now becoming an almost nauseating perfume. Like, there's perfume and it is top quality. This is definitely not top quality. This is like bottom of the barrel 30-year-old Avon stuff that when you smell it, it does have a very chemical and nauseating smell to you. The effect that was there, the effect that probably caused you to fall in love last night, or lust or passion or whichever it was, has definitely loosened its grip on you. You continue to hang there, and as you kind of glance around and maybe look back, you notice that it might possibly be possible for you to wiggle in such a way to get yourself up on top of the disco ball of love. You can see that there appears to be an empty space above it.
Okay. Is the table I used to try and catapult my way out through the window still over there?
Yeah, it's over there. It's knocked over.
How far away is Regina from that?
She's about halfway.
She's kind of in the middle of the room,
Yeah.
like right under me.
Yeah.
Regina, go over to the door, and we can talk about this.
Why am I going
You're
over to
my
the
friend.
door? That doesn't make any sense.
Because I need to get breakfast. Just please do that for me. I need to refuel, and then we come back to our lovemaking.
Big old smile on my face, just totally excited. Okay, I'm gonna go sit.
All right.
As soon as she starts walking away, not looking towards me and going to the door, Misty step right next to the window,
Okay.
and then I'm going to right the stool, hit the lever, and try and climb out.
Okay. You're going to hit the lever and try to climb out. So you misty step. Regina, go ahead and roll me a perception check. Because you're so excited that the blood, your heart has begun to thump and patter in your chest once again, thumping wildly, pushing the blood through and up into your ears, kind of drowning out everything. The excitement, the possibility that you may indeed once again get your hands upon your hunky love halfling is driving you almost over the edge. What did you get?
I got an 18.
Okay. You hear something hit the bed. You hear a dull kind of it's more of a sound than it is anything else. You hear some scuffling feet quickly making their way across the room, and you hear wood being set, or no, Misty step, right, sorry. You hear the table over at the far end of the room scrape up against the wall, and you hear a hand slap on to metal.
I'm going to cock my head to the side a little bit as I go to take a step to turn to sit. And I'm going to turn back and look in the direction of the noise.
You see the naked body of the only thing you've ever loved in this world, now opening up the latches and swinging the window up, his hand on the ledge, on the windowsill. You can see him stretched out, his muscles grabbing upwards, lengthening. The sight charges your body with electricity, seeing him like that. You remember a particular scene from the night before where you had Belton rather frazzled and on edge, just about ready to violate the terms of service for Twitch. But that image dances in your head and brings your blood up, the level of excitement growing as you see him over there. Belton and Regina, I need initiatives.
Okay.
I got 22.
Nat 20.
Fuck.
Oh my god. This is quite interesting. This is quite interesting. So, Belton, you're there. You've got your hand up on the windowsill. You are just now tightening your muscles to bring yourself up and lift yourself up onto the windowsill. The bars have now split enough to where they're still kind of V'd as they push the windowsills kind of out like this, or the windows, the shutters open. But you can get yourself up and out and over and out. You can smell for the first time in 16 hours fresh air, that thick, salty air of the Port of Storms. You can hear in the distance the ringing of alarm bells, it sounds like, and bells from off many of the moored ships. 500 bits for Belton. You can see you can actually see some of the sails out in some of the other harbors. You can see people, maybe the last fingers of people traipsing along underneath you. Maybe as you're about 2 stories out, you can see the rounding dome of the Gilded Halfling. It's whitewashed, kind of stuccoed, kind of mud kind of walls as it curves down. You can see people skirting out, but you hear this sharp intake of breath, this excited, and you realize that at this moment, Regina has indeed caught on to your antics. As you go to pull yourself up, your fear laces through your body as you hear her fast approaching footsteps, extremely fast, and it plays out in your mind from the night before how Regina was at times moving exceedingly fast. Both of you were moving exceedingly fast from position to position, from caress to caress, hug to hug, apparatus to apparatus. And you realize now that maybe there is some advantage to still having that perfume or whatever it was in your blood. You know it's got a hold of Regina and it hasn't let go of her. As she closes in on you fast, Regina, what are you going to do? You're about 5 feet from Belton, moving fast, but you realize and recognize that there is a definite possibility that he may get his way out of that window and escape your loving embrace.
I'm in a panic. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. You can't leave me. What are you doing? Breakfast isn't that way. And I'm going to throw that apparatus at his foot.
All right, go ahead and roll me an attack roll.
The one time I needed those dice to save me.
Yes.
Didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Belton,
Nope.
you hear the leather and the rigging. You hear the buckles just kind of shimmering as you can only see it in the back of your mind, the way that Regina must be trying to grab you with that apparatus, and you pull yourself up, the apparatus slapping up against the solid wood wall, falling down onto the table and pulling the table over. You stall for just a second. Go ahead and roll me in athletics to pull yourself up and underneath.
Oh, I'm at disadvantage. Fuck.
Got a +5 though.
I have 2 +5s.
Yep.
I'm gonna use both those because I rolled 2 3s.
All right, so a 13.
14 because I have +1.
All right, so with 14, Belton, you manage to pull yourself up under the bars that open up and yet lock these window shades into place. And you, for the first time in 16 hours, feel freedom rush over your body as a light, salt-filled, aired breeze caresses your naked frame. You get up and you stand on the arched dome of the Gilded Halfling, out and free. Regina, you see your love escape out into fresh air. What are you going to do, Belton?
I'm fucking running. Full on, full tilt. Do I have an idea of where I'm at?
Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
I know exactly where the fuck I'm at. That's a natural 20.
Yep, you are on the north side, looking down the north side of the dome. The street running alongside of it has one or two people that run past. Again, you can see as you kind of cast off towards the west, looking out towards the harbor and all that, you can see several huge plumes of black smoke, and you think you see some flames licking at some sails that are bobbing out in the harbor. You're not sure exactly what it is, and it is quite a ways away from you. You guys are several quarters removed to the east, away from that area of town, of those quarters. You can look out to the north and you can see the city stretching out, and you can see it stretching out in all directions from you. But you're facing to the north, and you can see the arcing of the dome going down to where it appears you think there's a lip down there that you could probably get to, which would probably place you a little over a story above the ground itself.
All right, I'm going to try and get to the front of the nymph.
Okay.
Because I want to find my friends so they can help keep that crazy bitch off me.
All right. You go dashing, and you, Regina, you hear Belton's furious footsteps, the slapping of his flesh on top of the whitewashed dome of the gilded nymph as he disappears out of your sight. What are you going to do?
I am completely confounded. I'm at a loss of words. I'm devastated. I'm even hurt a little bit. And I don't know why. He left me alone. And a single tear is going to come out of my eye. And I'm going to sit on the floor and be sad.
Alrighty. So you're going to sit and be sad. Okay. You, Belton, go slapping along, your feet slapping into it, and you come to the edge, and you can see down the back half of the courtyard heading out into the city proper as the dome arcs. You're going to continue, you're going to run down the dome and try to make your way out into the courtyard and turn around and get inside?
Yep.
Okay.
If I have to, I'll use another Misty Step. I need to get the fuck away.
Okay, as you run down or begin to run down the edge of the dome, you begin to realize that there are multiple layers of paint that are on the edge of the dome, and some of those flake away. Make me a dexterity save.
That's gonna be a 9.
Okay. You plant one foot and you feel the paint immediately shift. You feel your foot slide just a little bit off to your left, and you plant the other foot, and because the way you hit, that foot also plants and slides to the left. It seems to be following as if on a rope the other foot. And you begin to notice the entire city begin to rotate as you begin to fall and roll and tumble, bouncing down the dome, quickly gaining more and more speed as you bounce and slap off the dome. Eventually, you are airborne with the courtyard screaming up in front of you. Regina, you sit there in the room, heartbroken that the love of your life has escaped. He's ran away from you. He's shunned your love. You're not quite sure why that is, but he has indeed done it. While inside the inn, inside the Gilded Nymph, the three of you still find yourselves at the table. Talina, you've pulled out the scroll, but your attention is drawn or distracted by this creature or whatever it is that is inside of this cage. And all three of you now sitting at that table begin to pay attention to this, at least with with the offside of your senses, as whatever is inside that cage continues to snarl, snap, scratch at the bottom of the cage every once in a while. Kind of erupting out of it. You can see an exasperated look as this fat, rotund, red-haired figure once again reaches inside the bag, as he's been doing for the past few seconds, and tries to appease whatever it is that's inside there. You see him and he pulls his finger back, and as he pulls his finger back, you see a few drops of blood and a very nasty gash on it. He takes his foot, pushes the box thing just underneath the table. You can see a mixture of frustration, exasperation, and anger on his face. His cheeks blazing red, his eyes furrowed and sucking kind of back into his head as the fat of his face closes over them. He shakes his fingers, snaps up a napkin or a paper or a type thing off of the table, wraps his finger in it, shoves the bag of food, tipping it over, and you can see as it spills out that there are easily 50 more chunks of victuals of some kind inside of it. And you can see he says something under his breath. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Nine.
Wiki.
Natural 20.
Talina.
Got a 9.
Wiki, you hear him under his breath. This is the last damn time, you fucking beast. I want nothing more to do with you. And he pushes his foot, and you can hear the thing slap up against the wood underneath. I hope you sit there and starve to death. As he pushes it away, you can see him holding his figure, and as he stomps out of the place, you can see his fat, the blubber underneath of his clothing, jiggling as he stomps his way out. You hear a bit of a whimper, almost a whine, and then a gurgle sound, almost like a strange purr come from inside of it as he walks away. This is the first time in the past couple minutes that this thing has been in here that you've actually heard anything that would remotely seem like this creature is happy, and he leaves it. The only people in here are the three of you, the three Gervais, and like I said, a couple other townsfolk. Everybody except for the Gervais seem to have paid attention to what's going on here, but as the figure gets up to leave, everybody kind of goes back to minding their own business. The three of you are at the table. The area immediate of you is mixture of rotting flesh, the copper smell of blood, that metallic tinge in the air, the sweetness of the pickles, the heat of the Rian red, the peppers, the dills and spices, and that sort of stuff. Wiki, you're the only one to have heard it.
He seems to have abandoned whatever it is he brought in with him. Don't think he's coming back. As I say this, I'm gonna get up and
abandon an animal
inspect
in
the container.
inn.
Well, Wiki, you need to get past your new friend Bezelman and his pickles, because he's here. You're kind of pinned inside.
Baseman, can we go see what this is that he left over here?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'll stand up.
Yep.
Let him out.
Right. You make your way across the 15 feet to get to that table, and you can hear, as you get a little bit closer, you hear something inside of the container, inside of the box or crate or whatever it is. You can hear it shift back, as if it's shifting back away from your approaching steps, and you hear a little bit of a screechy kind of a growl, very small, very tiny, very, very young sounding, as this thing kind of makes its way back, and you can hear something kind of ruffling inside there.
And it's like, it doesn't seem to be very happy to be contained. Maybe we should grab some food for it from the table. Is there any of the bacon left over there?
There's a few bits and pieces of bacon that are left on the platter over there, and there is the bag that figure left sitting on the table.
Why don't we grab a piece out of the bag here that gentleman left?
Okay, that sounds like
I'll
a good
I'll
idea.
grab a piece and slightly open up the lid, and it's all right.
Well,
it's all right.
you need to pull up. First off, you need to pull off the covers.
Oh, the covers.
The covers. Yes. You need to expose the thing to sunlight.
Let's expose it.
Oh, all the innuendos. As you kind of pull the cover back, you see a wooden, and it's a very nice wooden cage. You notice that it's finely engraved. There's vine work and what appears to be an engraved or carved in forest pattern on a very dark, deep red wood. You can see individual leaves and all of that. And on the top of it, you can see where there are two very large leaves that have been kind of cut out of it to reveal holes. And you can see a steel blackened wire meshed kind of a caging underneath that affixed to the inside, and you can see something inside in the darkness of it shifting around, moving around. You can hear claws scraping, and you can see a shadow of something. The box, again, like I said, is about 2 to 3 feet wide, about 2.5 feet tall, and about 3 feet in length. It's sizable indeed, and whatever's in there is big enough that when it moves and shifts, as you lift the cover off of it, you see a flash of dark glinting eyes just briefly as something tries to turn around in it, a heavier body than maybe you would expect, slamming into the side. The edge of the box tips up and you hear a very rustly kind of sound erupt out of it.
Can I use animal handling to try and calm it down?
Sure.
All right, let's give it a try. That would be a 19.
A 19. Exactly what are you going to do to calm it down?
Talk in a soft tone. It's all right. It's okay. Calm down. Not gonna hurt you. And try and feed it a piece of the food. What is it like? What is the food that he was feeding him?
It looks to be some kind of a dried meat. Not old. It's almost like a jerky. Yeah, almost like a jerky nugget kind of a mixture that he's put in there, that he's put in the bag that he's been feeding it.
All right. Yeah, I'll give him a piece. A piece.
Okay, as you stick your fingers down to one of the leaf-shaped opening that's facing towards you, and you put your finger down there, the thing kind of snarls a little bit, but almost instinctively you see short little black claws grab out onto the edge of the cage, snap onto the edge of the cage, and you see a small golden brown beak kind of snap outwards and snap the meat, and you can hear it inside as the beak begins to kind of chaw on it, and then it gulps it down.
It's all right. It's okay.
And then everybody in the inn hears "Ah! Who? Who?"
Can I roll
Michael
a
Gibbs.
nature check to identify the creature in the crate?
Sure.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
You are, however, going to do that at disadvantage because you cannot see what it is inside it. The places for light to get in are so thin and small enough that it's very shadowed inside. So what'd you roll?
19 and a 20.
19 and a 20. Holy cow. You kind of you shift it a little bit and kind of get it to where maybe a beam of the sunlight entering in from the entrance into the Gilded Nymph flows in, crosses across the floor, and just happens to hit just perfectly. As you see the thing flick its head, the little nugget of meat flying into the air and falling into its beaked mouth. You see a rounded kind of owl-shaped head, and what appears to be going back, a furred body, small, thick, very muscled, even for its small size, and there's a hint of youth to what you're looking at inside there. You recognize this as being what very well could be either a miniature or a baby owlbear.
Noticing this, Wiki actually lets out a little squeak and jumps back because he remembers a particular owlbear in a swamp a long time ago that tried to eat him. He no longer wants to get too close to the cage.
There's a bear owl and it was zombified. You're fine.
So, Benjamin, you see Wiki kind of jump back away from it, and you literally see a look of almost terror on his eyes as he jumps back from it. You can see him as he does this almost instinctively reach down and grab his side in a manner of some. Actually, roll me an insight. So we're going to see if you can figure out exactly why it is that he's grabbing himself.
21.
Yeah, you've been around long enough. You've seen enough fights, not maybe with owlbears and stuff, but the way he reaches and grabs at his side, it's the way somebody would reach and grab at their side had they been cut or wounded severely in their side. And he grabs it and almost doubles, almost instinctively, and then kind of looks at his hands and then just kind of shivers a little bit. You can see that whatever's in there has definitely had an effect on him, and he is indeed scared of it. Again, you hear this kind of, it's a strange cooing sort of sound, very bird-like, and ends with a little bit of a gurgling. Not quite a purr, maybe a snarl or a snargle. Maybe a snargle would be a better way of describing what it's making. It's very soft and cute. Again, you're hearing this thing not make a vicious sound. Like, for some reason, it feels maybe safer.
Are you okay?
And then again, with this kind of...
Wiki, are you all right?
I'll be okay. I've just met a much larger version of one of these before.
Oh, really? I assume it did not
So
go
good
well.
circumstances. No. And he's
But
kind of
you're
still backing away, like, from the cage.
Talina, you can see this. You can see Basilman's now a bit closer. You can see Wiki grabbed at his side for some reason and is backpedaling away from this thing. At first faster, but now he's about halfway between you and this cage thing here. And you can see a little faint tremble in his body as he's moving away from whatever the hell it is that's inside of that cage or that box. And you hear filtering out of it this kind of sound.
So, what is in the cage?
It's an owlbear of some kind.
An owlbear. A bit of a small cage for one, yes?
It's either a baby or just a really small one.
Okay. And it sounds happy. Why are you walking away?
Well, you remember back in the swamp a couple of years ago?
Oh, yes. But that thing was terrified of what the area we were in, and was, I believe, undead. So this can't be anywhere near that bad.
I'll keep my distance just in case.
All right.
Okay.
So Wiki comes to a stop about halfway between the cage and you, Talina. Bezelman, you're still standing there, and it's repeatedly it's giving out these kind of sounds.
I'll
You
actually
can hear it
sit down next
shifting.
to it.
Okay. You sit down next to the cage and you kind of peer in, and you see inside there. The cage itself is probably it's getting to the point where the cage is maybe getting a bit too big for it, as you can hear it scraping as it tries to turn around. You see a flash of its very dark eyes and the glint of the golden brown beak that's there. Its fur, as you can see when the sunlight kind of gets in there a little bit, seems to be a darker, not a brown, but a darker black tinged with gray across it. And you can see, even at its size right now, that there's feathers mixed in with some of the fur up towards the owl-like head, but the back side of it is very much furred like a bear would be. And you can see feathers that are kind of almost stunted wing-like off the back of its legs. You can hear the claws kind of scraping at the floor of the cage as it lets out more of these. And suddenly those cease as the cage kind of shifts and shakes wildly. And you hear this little tiny owl bear creature inside let out a very ferocious snarl and snapping at the cage, or what you can see in your mind as being the cage. As it sounds like something like it was hurt for a second or surprised.
I'll grab another piece of meat or jerky or whatever it was. Hold it up to him. It's all right. It's all right. Calm down. And I'll put my hand up too.
You can kind of see it. You can see its eyes, and it kind of looks at the bit of meat. It doesn't look like it's angry per se, more annoyed, more hurt, and now there is a bit of fear in its eyes as it doesn't come back to that opening. You can see in order for it to come back to that opening, it would have to shift its body again and try to turn around inside this cage.
To open the cage or not to open the cage?
Open it.
It looks awfully small for him.
All right, let's open the cage.
You reach your hand open. You reach your hand over to the front and you flip the 3 different locks, each one of them like a bird's finger with a claw at the end going through a loop. And you flip each of them open and you pull the little silver latch. This box, when you look at all of this silver and stuff on it, you realize that this box must be worth a fair penny. There's some serious craftsmanship in it. And as you pull the latch, you hear it so slightly slide and then click. And then the small door swings open and this great big tiny owl head pokes its way out. And his eyes land on Wiki. It charges. It almost sets you back, Bezumin, as this thing, the cage rattles, almost as if this creature is shaking off a cocoon as it slides its way and begins to charge across the room. It stands roughly about 2 feet at the shoulders, maybe 2.5 feet wide, with a great big owl head. It's kind of cute and comical and fearsome all at the same time. You can see the predatory instincts all throughout it. You can see that someday this is going to be an enormous flesh-rending carnivore that's going to stalk through the forest. But now it's in a much smaller size. As it rips out of there, there's a cuteness because its head's too big for its bodies. It's got these enormous, confusing paws that as it comes out and it hits the finished wood and the mix of cobbles on the inn's floor, it kind of slides from side to side, trying to gain traction, which with its claws it manages to. And this creature, Wiki, 2 feet or so at the shoulders, begins to charge you across the room very clumsily, but it's snapping its beak at you. All 3 of you here outside. And then something hit the courtyard with a thud.
Does this catch the attention of the owlbear that's currently charging across the room?
4 points of damage there, Belton. Let's see if it does. No, it does not.
Okay.
Belton, you hit your back first onto the hard ground. Luckily, you missed the statues with the upturned tridents and swords and various other spiky bits that are out there in the courtyard. You missed the amazing cactus sculpture garden. You missed, and as you're laying there, the air exploding out of your chest, and then you suck back in, so that all of the dust that was dispersed when you slammed into the ground now comes into you, but your eyes exploding begin to gather senses, and you quickly take in the numerous things that could have ended you had you landed wrong. Sparkles at the end of your visage. You lean your head over, looking to your left, and you see the open double door entryway into the Gilded Nymph. Go ahead and roll me a perception check to see if you're able to focus yourself to see what's going on and transpiring.
4.
4. Your vision.
8.
Your vision is blurred. It's shot through with fireworks of shimmering silver dancing around in your vision, blurring out things. You can make out like the immediate things that are close, like this statue of a Triton god with this enormous 3-pronged trident in the air, and you can see bits of your hair hanging from one of the tongs of the trident. That is how close you came to impaling your naked flesh upon this. And your naked flesh may have recently been impaled. So that idea shudders you. You look in, you can't quite make out what's going on, but you see shadows. You know that that's the entrance into the place. What are you going to do, Belton? Freedom is calling your name, safety possibly.
Thank the gods. I'm going to roll over, do a quick glance, see if there's any like large leaves or anything I could grab real fast. If there's nothing handy, I'm going to get up and start heading into the Gilded Nymph, holding my gentleman bits, trying to be as courteous of my nudity as possible.
All right, there is nothing there for you to grab onto.
So
you're
on balls.
Yeah, you're kind of stumbling, kind of making your way that general direction. Wiki, you have this owlbear that you now recognize as an owlbear is charging you with a ferocious snapping of its beak. It looks like it's coming to get you for sure. Bezumin, you sit there you were down and you kind of got knocked backwards onto your rump a little bit as this thing just charged out, giving out these snapping sounds every once in a while, that as it's charging towards Wiki Wobblefizz, one of your newest friends. Talina, roll me a perception check because you're the only one that's not involved in that immediate scene.
Apparently, I am paying attention very well because that is a 23.
As the scream pierced through the morning sunlight in the courtyard, you saw something very heavy hit the ground. At first, you thought maybe it was somebody throwing something or something like that, but then you realized that whatever it was that hit the ground was connected to that scream. And it's almost as if that scream, when this object slams into the ground and you hear this explosion of breath, that almost as if that scream followed it down, because you hear it a split second later as it hits the ground. It stands and rights itself, kind of brushing itself off, and you see it take its hands and put it down over its private area, down over its janglies, and begin to stumble towards the entrance. The recognition quickly washes over you as you see Belton Cobblebolt's naked form stumbling as if he has just been knocked out, covered in dust and dirt, stumbling towards the entrance of the Gilded Nymph. His footing does not seem to be stable at all. Periodically, he sticks his hands out to kind of right himself on imaginary pillars or walls or whatever's, exposing himself for everybody to see. Luckily, not that many people inside of the place. As he grabs himself again and begins to stumble. For every foot or two he takes forward, he stumbles one off to the left or 1 off to the right, or toddles backwards 3. He's not making very good progression as he's getting his way in there. Your attention is split between Belton walking in and this baby or small miniature owlbear that is rapidly closing the distance towards Wiki Wobblefizz. What are you going to do, Talina?
I am looking in the booth because obviously we have this plate of food, well, mostly consumed, and then there should be like napkins and stuff, right?
Yeah. There's cloth. Well, on some of the tables, there's cloth napkins. It's like where people had been sitting because there's empty plates of food or plates that are half eaten and that sort of thing from the people that were in here, but then were kind of distracted by whatever that emergency was that was going on and left. So yeah, there are napkins.
I'm gonna snatch up a napkin
Okay.
and get out of the booth and run over to Belton and be like, "What happened to you?" and hand him the napkin.
You Belton, you see this blurred figure charging towards you out of the inn, and the way your vision's playing on your mind at first, your blood stops because you hear footfalls coming, and before it comes into focus, the only thing that probably plays in your mind is, "Dear God, she got out. Dear God, she got out. Dear God, she got out." But then you hear a familiar accented voice, and you realize that it's not Regina Wanda Galt. It is that of Talina Halfheart, one of your other friends, and she's approaching you with something kind of blurry held out, telling you to put this on.
Oh, thank God you're not her. And I'm going to give her a big old hug.
I'm gonna stand there surprised with my arms out to the side.
What happened?
Not who?
Last night? What happened? Why did you let her take me?
Who?
Regina.
You two seemed happy with each other yesterday.
It came out of nowhere. Why did you think that was a good idea? Why didn't you stop us?
You didn't exactly give us a chance. Calm down. Let's get you some clothes.
I'll take the napkin and... Oh, God.
And I'll put my hand on his arm, on his arm to help steady him as he walks in.
How big is this napkin? Is this like a hand towel size on me?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
So I
a
can, like,
sizable
maybe grab-
loincloth to you.
So I can like maybe hold both ends and have like my side of my butt cheek and my whole thigh hanging out and cover? Or
Yeah, it's like a small bath towel. Yeah.
yeah, so I've got it. How did you...
You seemed smitten with each other. You ran up in front of us into the inn.
That's
you
because
wouldn't
we
stop
were
to talk to
cursed.
us?
Have we ever shown any romantic interest in each other?
A couple times over the years.
When?
Well, there was a few times we were in dire death situations, and you guys seemed to be very friendly.
Okay, I'm gonna get this out in the open right now. I do not have any romantic feelings towards Regina, or towards you, or towards Wiki, or towards Cedric. If something else happens again, stop me. Okay?
Note of it.
Okay, I need some food. We'll leave Regina up there for the time being.
Before they, want to kick you out. So, up to our normal room, and some clothing, and then food.
That's probably a good idea.
Maybe even a wash.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, there are coming off of Belton is the smell of sweat, a locker room perfume, you think, although it's kind of nauseating, and there are other scents and aromas that neither
I am
you
pointedly ignoring at this point.
neither you, I, or the viewers out there in Twitch land are going to get into on this particular stream. But yes, you are apparently free, Belton. Are the two of you going to go heading back inside the inn itself?
Yes.
Okay,
Like I
Wiki.
said, I'm putting a hand on his arm to kind of steady him as he walks in.
Wiki, this owlbear is charging you. You can size it up from where you're at. It's not hard to realize that this creature has you by probably double your own weight. It's 2 feet at the shoulder. If it was to rise up on its hind legs, it would probably look you square in the eye, if not look downwards at you a little bit. It's golden brown beak is snapping wildly as it's shaking its oversized owl hair, gurgling out a mixture of and sounds as it's charging towards you. You hear Talina or somebody walked behind you quickly. You heard maybe off in the distance something heavy thunking out in the courtyard, but your vision has been focused straight ahead on this carnivorous owlbear. You've had experience with them in the past, and it's never been something that's ended well, as this one is charging at you. What are you going to do, good sir?
Wiki is going to stand his ground and cast Mirror Image.
Stand his ground. At this point, I would like you to roll initiative.
All right. Oh, that's bad.
This one wasn't.
This is going to be good. That's an 8.
Wow.
Ooh, that was wonderful. That is
He tried.
wonderful. There we go. Alrighty, so you begin just at the very beginning. You begin to move your hands to craft and pull and cast out your mirror image. You begin to, like, the first note of a chant falls from your lip as this thing thuds across the ground, its claws grasping or trying to. As it gets to the cobbles that you're standing just at the back end of, one of its claws tries to find purchase and doesn't, and scrapes. Everybody can hear this. Well, Bezemin and you can hear this scraping sound as its leg shoots out kind of off away from it and a little bit behind. The cooing kind of snargly sound, the little kind of gets as its leg goes out, its shoulder ducks down, and it kind of slides across the floor with more than enough momentum to carry itself into you. You take the impact as this creature. Wow. Yeah, you take the impact. There's the 20. As this creature plows into you, taking you off of your feet, the two of you begin to kind of somewhat slowly tumble. At least to you, it feels like you're slowly tumbling. You can feel its weight come up on top of you. You feel as it rights itself, you're back on the cold inn floor. You're looking, staring up at this owlbear as you feel its weight on your chest. One clawed paw, then the other clawed paw, one on each shoulder. You can feel its weight as it pushes a little bit down. It looks down at you. You hear it as its beak opens and its face closes to yours. A long, slender, bird-like tongue falls out of its beaked mouth and slaps across your cheek as it begins to coo and nuzzle itself into you. It has a strange look of satisfaction on its face as it plumps itself down on top of you. The air escaping from you from this thing's weight. You try to move just a little bit, but you find yourself pinned, at least currently, to the ground by this 150-pound, almost 200-pound owlbear. Its weight thoroughly on top of you, pinning you to the ground. Bezumin, you're sitting there. You watch this whole thing happen much faster than you're able to react. You're almost probably sitting on the ground, maybe in a little bit of shock, as this owlbear tore out of this cage and launched itself across. You saw your other new friend, Talina, get up and almost a hurried, just under a panicked level, and make her way out of the inn. And it kind of leaves you wondering exactly what the hell is going on and why does everybody seem to be terrified by this owlbear. You're sitting there on the ground. You see this owlbear firmly plant itself on top of Wiki Wobble Fizz. His chant cut short. His gestures stopped and halted almost immediately as this thing lands on him. What are you going to do?
I'm gonna make my way over to Wiki and the owlbear and squat down next to him. Looks like you've made a friend.
As you get up and begin to make your way over to Wiki Wobble Fizz, the owl, you can see as you take like your first step and then go to set your foot down on a second one. Go ahead and roll me an insight.
Natural 1.
9.
You see the thing's head kind of cock. You spent enough time in the wild to realize that it's probably listening to you, but you don't pick up anything else than that. As your second foot hits, Wiki, your chest compresses, and you hear the scraping and scratching of claws on the ground as the owlbear comes up at a rapid rate of speed and turns itself on top of you. You think you hear some of the fabric of some of your clothing rip as it does this. It turns, planting both paws, one on each of your hips, exceedingly close to your wiki bits. Its weight shifting causes you once again to expel air from your chest. As you take your third step, Bezumin, you're looking down at a very ferocious miniature, somewhat cute because its head's too big for its body and it's got these enormous paws. But it sits there and it begins to twist its beak a little bit. As it kind of stands, and you can see it take a defensive posture, as if it's standing on top of Wiki defensively. But to you, it just looks like kind of playful.
Oh, knock it off.
Is that what you say to it?
Yeah.
It sits there and kind of sets its shoulders and takes one step forward, planting its paw in between your legs, Wiki. You hear it on now the cobblestones underneath Wiki. It kind of shifts, turns its head a little bit, and gives 3 sharp raps of its beak, clicking wildly, clicking hard, and you can see its eyes take on a more aggressive set in its head. And it does something you've seen in the wild. Go ahead and roll me a nature.
21.
It shakes itself a little bit from side to side. And as it does this, you recognize this as being a bear trait. A trait of when a bear is exceedingly agitated, angry, and you are about to cross into no man's land. It's small, but you've seen small bears do damage before.
Yeah. I'll stop my movement. Hey, Wiki, you want to get your pet under control there, sir?
I'll reach up and like pat the top of its paw and go like, "It's okay. He's a friend.
The owlbear begins to kind of look down towards where your hand is at. Talina, Belton, you make your way inside the inn itself. Belton, your eyes kind of clear and kind of begin to refocus a bit. And as they refocus, you notice that the first time you've ever seen the gilded nymph this empty before, you notice a figure approaching. Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
That's going to be a 21.
Nice.
We're all very perceptive today.
Yes, very. You notice a figure that you do not know approaching what appears to be Wiki Wobblefizz, one of your long and oldest friends, laying upon a cobbled section. The floor to the inn is a mixture of set hardwood floor that is roughly carved but very highly polished and finished, and patches of this cobblestone. You see Wiki laying there on his mottled stones of the cobble variety, his back pressed to it, and then your eyes kind of shift between the two. And at first you don't notice this 150, 200 pound creature that is standing on top of Wiki, and then your eyes shift wide as you recognize that it appears to be either a miniature or a young owlbear standing on top of Wiki. But it's not apparently threatening Wiki. It appears to be threatening this figure that is approaching Wiki that you do not know. Many crazy, zany things in your life have changed in the past 16 hours. You're not sure how the hell this all happened. Yesterday evening, you were all the Veil Walkers. You had gone to gain information about this long haul fellow, about possibly doing a job for somebody who works for some circus or some such nonsense, and retrieving a creature. The next thing you know, you're being retrieved by a friend. Yes, Regina Wandagolt. I almost got you married there. Regina Wandagolt. You're locked in a room. You're both naked. Now you've made your escape. You've almost impaled yourself naked on a statue in broad daylight in the morning. You've slammed into the ground, and now you walk in, and there appears to be somebody either attacking or making crude gestures or whatever towards Wiki, who's pinned himself to the ground and has what appears to be a small owlbear defending him. What the hell has happened to your world? You're not sure, but everything feels like it's been turned upside down as your vision clears.
So as soon as I see this, I'm going to stop walking. What the hell has happened in the last 2 days, Talina?
And you see this in front of you, Talina. You see exactly what I described to him.
Well, the owlbear was left by somebody. Apparently, Wiki and he are making friends.
Wiki, are you all right?
I'm okay. I think he's claimed me, though.
And I'm just going to walk back to my room now.
Everybody sees Belton cross through the inn, just shaking his head. He's holding to himself a napkin that is barely covering everything, but it's covering it. But you notice that he is naked, and as he walks by, you notice several lash marks on his body. You can see where his hair and the weasel, baby weasel-like fur on his chest and upper back seem to be tousled, and you see many, many, many scratches along his back, across his buttock, as it sticks out as he steps ever so gingerly through the room. He just walks through the room, shaking his head as he heads up the stairs.
As I get to the stairs, I'm going to turn around. Don't let Regina out of the room until I'm cleaned up and dressed, please. And then I'll go upstairs.
Belton makes his way up the stairs. You can hear his naked feet slapping on each of the stairs as he goes up Talina, you do now see this. You see Bezumin approaching Wiki. You can see Wiki pinned to the floor, a big fat young owlbear or baby owlbear's butt just outside of the reach of his face. It seems to be defending Wiki from Bezumin. What are you going to do?
I will cautiously walk towards Wiki and ask him, would you like some help getting up?
Yes, please. Maybe get some bacon from the table. That might get him off me.
Look, and I'll look over at I forget how to pronounce it. Bezimer?
Bezumin.
Bezimin. Grab the food.
Okay.
As you shift, you even begin your movements. I'm going to call for an initiative.
Oh Jesus.
Both of us?
No, he's only paying attention to Bezumin.
Okay.
That would be a nat 1.
Woo! That is good. The second you begin to even move your hand, this owlbear lets out this great snarl and clacks its beak, snapping twice to the air ferociously. Its big owlbear head being bigger than its body is fast. It's not as cute as it once was. You can picture in your mind the damage that this thing could probably do, seeing how you would... Yeah, it would not be a good thing. Talina, you can pick up on the fact that this thing is set and ready for a fight, that it's fully focused on Bezumin, the individual who brought you the dark wooden box, the from Mother Adamira, at the Abbey of the Four Winds. You do see, though, over on the plate, there are a few choice pieces of that bacon still left, as well as pickles.
Okay. I'll go towards the table and get the bacon.
Okay. You go over to the table, you get the bacon, and what are you going to do with it?
I don't want to startle this thing, so I'm going to make sure that I walk so that it can see me coming. And I'm
Okay.
going to hold the bacon out. And be like, come on.
Give me a second.
Is the
Looks like-
owlbear in between me and my pickle barrel?
Yes.
Damn it.
Yes. Most definitely it is in between you and that pickle barrel.
You're trying to get an owlbear addicted to pickles. I guess
No,
that's how it's going.
So as you're you move around, and as you get about to the side of Wiki, so you're about halfway around to make its head turns around and lets out a little scruffy snarl, a little, but it doesn't snap its beak towards you. Go ahead and roll me a persuasion.
That would be a 20.
Wow. Yeah, you hold out the bacon, and at first it snarls, and then it lets out a couple quick kind of chittering clicks, and then and it kind of comes off of Wiki. You can feel your chest lightening as the baby owlbear comes off of your chest and pads across the floor up to you, Talina. And it reaches out with its beak and snaps out to grab the bacon. Pulling the bacon out of your hand, it flips it into the air and begins to chomp on it kind of happily. As it's doing this and it gets down the last bit of bacon, it nuzzles its head underneath your hand where you had been holding the bacon.
I'll kind of pet its head.
And it coos and it purrs, it presses into it. It kind of begins to turn around so that you're scruffling its back. And it begins to walk across you, kind of familiar, like a cat-like type thing, until you're eventually scratching all the way down by its butt. And it wiggles its rather enormous haunches as you're doing that. And it moves back. The whole time it's letting out this cooing sound. Belton, upstairs, you make your way into the hallway, and there's a split in the hallway. There's one direction that goes down towards where your room is at. And then down that direction further and hanging a left leads you into a hallway where you know, sequestered in a room of love and passion, is Regina Wandagolt. But your room's much closer than that. And then there's the room that leads down to where what you believe to be the quarters of some of the people who work here. The Herald 300 gonna give the Bezemin some love since the Owlbearer won't. So you have a re-roll, my friend. Thank you there, Herald. We will put that to good use. You look down that hallway. Go ahead and roll me a perception as you stand at the crossroads of your life.
Be a 13.
A 13, just enough. You kind of begin to turn yourself to go down the hallway to your room, and something catches your eye. On the floor, 1, 2, 3, 4 doors down, there's a flickering lantern hanging from an iron arm coming out of the wall. You see these all throughout these floors and the floors above. That holds a little bit of a flickering light that remains. That light flickers, and something on the ground. Yes, you can give disadvantage, subs. You realize on the floor there seems to be the light plays across something wet and slick. This catches your attention just out of the side of your vision as you're about to take your first step towards your room. It catches your attention and plays off in your mind as something very, very odd. What are you going to do?
Gonna take a closer look.
As you stop your forward motion, your foot out, and you almost kind of turn on the one heel and plant your foot, and you look down that way, you can tell that it is indeed a thick, viscous liquid, like an oil or something to that effect. It's about 10 to 15 feet from you. All the follows, bits, and subscriptions and all that, ladies and gentlemen, I will get at our first break, which is about still a half an hour or so away. As you can tell right now, this is going to be a little bit longer of an episode than we usually play.
Yes. I'm going to look down the hall again, make sure Regina hasn't gotten out as far as I can tell.
Okay,
And then slowly approach this liquid.
Okay. You slowly begin to approach the liquid, and as you take a couple more steps down and into this hallway, there is a coppery scent in the air, and a tension lingers. Not as if it's lingering off a living being, but there's a definite tension, and it's almost as if your spidey senses go off as you look down at this liquid that seeped out from underneath the doorway. It looks like it is beginning to dry on the ground and almost coagulate as you realize that you're looking down at pooling, drying blood that is seeped out from underneath the door frame or the doorway itself. Regina, you were left sobbing inside this room. Your love, having escaped, made his break for freedom. You took a seat and just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. What are you doing at this moment in time?
I am sitting here full of anger and confusion because I was abandoned by my one true love. But it's an anger that only love could bring. I'm going to stand up, brush myself off a little bit, wipe my face with my hands, wipe the tears away, and I'm going to put the apparatus. I'm going to go get it, and I'm going to put it away on the bed, and I'm going to get dressed and figure out how to get out of the room. Because I want to find him. I want to find my Belton and have a serious talk with him.
All right, so exactly how are you going to try and find your way out?
Well, I would imagine I'm not aware of the cord to ring the doorbell as you would. So I'm just gonna look around the room and see if there's any way I can get out. I don't think I can make it out the window. I'm a wee too small for that. Not as agile.
As you look over, though, as you look around, the only two ways you know of to get in or out of this particular place, well, there's a third possibly. Go ahead and roll me an investigation as you begin to look around the room and hold that roll for me once you do it. So, Belton, you're standing there. You can see where this liquid, it's quite a bit, that is seeped out from underneath this door.
I'm just like up on the first floor.
Yeah, you're on the first floor. That was weird.
Do I have to touch stuff for that spell? I can definitely tell it's blood.
Oh yeah, you can definitely tell it's blood. You can smell that coppery blood smell as it's drying and beginning to coagulate on the ground. The light flickering over it, giving off that kind of orange crimson kind of coloring, and you can still feel a tension definitely in the air.
And this isn't one of like our rooms or anything, right? No. Ours is farther. Okay.
No.
I'm gonna quickly glance around and then back down the stairs. As soon as I get down low enough where I can kind of see out into the lobby again,
okay,
I'm gonna. Hey guys.
You all kind of hear this soft voice. Talina, you're caressing and scruffling the haunches and the shoulders and in the head, the cold beak every once again pressing into you, a thin bird tongue licking at you, and these repeated coos. Wiki riding himself on the floor. Bezemin, maybe your tension's probably lessening a bit as the thing is no longer focused on you.
I'm going to start making a wide circle back to the table where the pickles are.
Okay.
I'm going to turn and look towards the Belton.
You all see Belton still sitting there kind of using this large table napkin as a towel around a small frame, trying to hide his janglies, his bits and bobs, as you would say.
Gentleman sausage.
Yes, and you can see him there, and he's motioning, and you can see upon his face, and you see this as well, Bezemin. You can see there's this look upon his face that's a bit distraught, like there's a problem. You can definitely see that there's a problem. You've been around, at least the two of you, not you, Bezemin, but the other two have definitely been around him long enough to know that there is definitely a problem. Bezemin, go ahead and roll me an insight, though, if you would.
15.
Yep. And you can pick it up. You take a couple steps, and then your eyes are drawn up to this halfling sitting there holding this napkin around his midsection as a way of protecting his janglies, his bits. And you can see that he's motioning for people to come to him, and you can tell immediately that there's definitely a problem.
I'll look around and turn to Talina. Belton?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just making sure I start making my way over to Belton.
I turn and follow as well, heading up towards where Belton's at.
And I'll wait until they get past me and then walk
Okay.
towards them.
All right. Are you gonna head that way too, Bezemin?
Yes.
Okay. As you all continue, first Wiki and then Bezemin gets there, and then Talina, as you move by the table, you hear an odd, off-toned, cooing kind of gurgle snargle come out of the owlbear at your side as he's padding along with you. This kind of... And he dashes from your side, almost knocking you a little bit out of the way. You see him jump up into the booth and tip over the barrel of pickles.
Oh no.
The bear, with this insane glint and glimmer in his eyes, this look of wonderment, an actual full-blown expression, you can easily pick out that he's excited as the liquid sloshes and splashes across the table in your private booth, dripping onto the floor. You can see the pickles spill out and slide across the table. This young owlbear picks one up, flips it into the air, opening up his maw and gulping it down in one bite. And he continues to do this pickle after pickle.
Ugh.
Are the three
I'm
of you
gonna
going to
run-
continue, or are you going to stop and turn?
I'm gonna run back and I'm gonna grab the lid because I thought they put the lid on the pickle jar and cover the jar of.
It's not a jar, it's a barrel.
Yeah, the barrel, and try and pound the lid back on so he doesn't get them all.
All right, so there, yeah, when you do that, when you come over, he doesn't pay any attention to you. There's probably a good 15 or 20 pickles that spilled out onto the table, and this young owlbear gleefully, happily cooing left and right. You're constantly hearing these woo as he flips one into the air, a snargle, a scrape as it drops into his gullet and he swallows it whole. He is massacring the pickles. Every once in a while, his tongue flicking out to lick across the table and pull up some of the juice. Belton, you're sitting there on the steps. You see Talina turn to deal with the bear. Bezelman and Wiki, what are the two of you going to do?
I'm going to turn and keep going towards Belton because I
Okay.
could care less about the pickles.
All right.
I'm going back to the pickles.
Bezelman, you
What?
turn. Talina, you're there. You managed to save probably 20. Somebody mark this down. 24 pickles are saved inside the barrel. Probably over half of its liquid is now missing, and the owlbear is furiously gobbling up pickle after pickle after pickle after pickle.
Going to make yourself sick. Stop it.
The owlbear
Tap him
looks
on the beak.
the owlbear, when you do this, kind of looks at you with this almost insulted, like, look as he lets out this higher pitch snargle, and he looks from you to one of the last two pickles that remains on the table. You notice the heat that's so lit up Wiki is having no effect on this particular creature. This owlbear seems to be handling the heat with ease. As he picks up another one, flicks it into the air, looks back at you, and begins to, you can see him kind of work out in his head whether he should look at either you, if he should listen to you, or take that last pickle. He almost looks like a child kind of testing the waters in his mind as to whether or not it would be a good idea one way or the other.
I'm gonna reach out and snatch the last pickle.
Go ahead and make me a. Go ahead, yeah. Let's go ahead and do an initiative because he wants the pickle.
Wow. That would be a, if I'm doing my math right, 22.
Wow, the owlbear kind of looking at the pickle goes to cast a glance back at you, and as he does this, he brings along this coo sound. This and you pick up on it. You're already wise to his machinations. You know that he's just trying to influence you, and you can see his eyes go huge as you dart out past him, reaching across the table super fast, faster than him, and you can see that he recognizes that he's made a mistake, and you hear his claws begin to try and grab the table for traction. His claws unable to do such on the slick pickle juice covered table, and he kind of slides out, his shoulder hitting on the table. He rolls kind kind of doing this gurgly sound again as he tries to, and he slides off into the booth. You snap up the pickle. As you snap the pickle up and bring it up, the owlbear now over in, thank you so much, Devin. The owlbear now over on the booth kind of looks up at you. And he kind of cocks his head and looks at you. And that is where we're going to take this evening's first break, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for hanging out with us here at the Forge. Let's do a giveaway really, really quick. The giveaway, once again, is for one of those awesome dice cup dice set combinations we got in from Easy Roller Dice Company. If you're unfamiliar with Easy Roller Dice Company, please do me a favor and go to easyrollerdice.com. This set includes a gunmetal black D6, that's an actual metal die, a fantastic set of dice, a leathered dice cup, a velvet with a velvet interior, and a dice bag. It's roughly about a $25 value. Really, really cool. The wonderful folks over there at Easy Roller Dice, I'm talking about you there. I believe it's Michael. I believe that's who I'm talking to. I probably got that wrong, and I'm probably going to lose them. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and take a break. Thank you guys for hanging out. Here is the winner of the first Dice Cup. Good luck. Smash Rainy Keys. You just won yourself another Dice Cup, Rainy. This one will go out in the mail eventually, probably next week sometime. That is the second cup that Rainy's won in the past week. We are going to go ahead and head to break, ladies and gentlemen. Please hang out. There is much more shenanigans to go. We got about another 2 hours in this night's show. This show here marks the first time that we're actually going to a 4-hour format. So please hang out and we'll see you guys. I'll have some announcements. We'll start off another giveaway and then we will come back in for some more of the fantasticness. So please hang out, enjoy the music, and we'll be right back. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us through that break. Super appreciate it. Super appreciate. Excited to see you guys still here. Let's go ahead and let's set up our next giveaway. As everybody out there knows, we here, especially me at Forged at the Table, I use D&D Beyond for almost all of my 5th edition needs. That will be changing a little bit because we're going to be running some stuff in Kobold Press's Midgard, but I will still be using that during that game even to set some things up and track some stuff for myself. So that game is still going to be used. So this next giveaway is going to have the following word attached to it. Just type this word into chat one time only. If you type it more than that, please understand you must be 13 years or older to win this, and you must be in the United States, the continental United States, as international shipping is not kind. So type this word into the chat for me, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like a chance to win one of the Easy Roller Dice Cup sets that they sent me. It is super awesome, a really cool set of dice. Type in that word right there, D&D Beyond, because if you've never been over there, then you don't know this. But if you have been over there, you definitely know this. And that is D&D Beyond is beyond your wildest imaginations. I got it in. So again, let me go over a couple quick things so everybody knows what's kind of happening here. If you would like to come hang out and chat after this show, parts of this cast, hopefully everybody at least stops in for a little bit, but parts of this cast will be over in our voice chat, and usually some other folks from out there in the world of the Forge come over and hang out and chat for a little bit. So if you would like to come over, all you have to do is jump over on our Discord and look for the public voice chat. I'll be there. I know that Talina will be there. I'm hoping some of the other members of this cast will drop in and say hi. And we'll see if we can't pull over some of those spy-like moderators that we have, because they're a bunch of spies. We're going to see if we can get those guys over there. Again, man, there are so many things that I could talk about. We do have a spot in a new Grim game. It's going to be 5:30 p.m. Eastern every Sunday. We start doing characters tomorrow over on our Discord. If you would like to snap up that last spot in that game, go ahead and get a hold of me. These are going to be very, very special games. I'm running 2 right now, or I will be running 2. These are going to be super special games, and I will go into that with the players when we set up to actually launch that. We have a spot that is open in Maya or Weiss Girls game. If you happen to see that modern versus modern D&D game last night, we have an opening in that game, just one. I would jump on it quick if you want to be in that. That is going to be alternating Fridays starting the 18th of May at 9 p.m. Eastern. She is a fabulous dungeon master. If you didn't check it out last night, go back and watch the VOD, and it's called The Bloody Blossoms, and you will get a genuine treat. She's a very good DM, and I'm happy to have her here on the channel. So we have one spot left in that. Please stick around tonight after the show, because we are going to be doing a raid. We're going to raid somebody out there. I had a target in mind, but I believe they said they were only running from 9 Eastern to about 11 Eastern, so they are probably wrapping up. If they're still here, I'll go ahead and drop a raid over there on Castle Mac. Those guys got some good stuff over on that channel. If not, we'll find somebody else. We'll go out and run somebody else. So stick around for the raid after this. We have 2 art contests. If you go over to our Discord, you'll see those contests listed there in our official announcements, but I'll drop that out here really, really quick. In the one, we're looking for somebody to design an emote for our $24.99 tier 3 subscribers. We're looking for somebody to craft that emote. if you have any questions about that, you can get a hold of me. But the winner of that, the emote that we select, is one going to be here on the channel. You're going to get full credit for that. And you're going to win a $50 gift certificate to miniaturemarket.com. The second art contest is we're looking for somebody to go ahead and craft us a brand new logo. You can see our logo on our off-screen page. It's the die with the pencil and the flaming anvil. We're looking for something a little bit more stylish. If you think you have what it takes and we select your entry to be the one, you will get a free shirt when we get the shirts made. You'll get credit for that with the shirts, and you will get a $50 gift certificate to Miniature Market, as well as a $50 gift certificate over to Devin Rue's wonderful website, Rue Inc. If you have never seen Devin's work, go to rueinc.com. If you have never seen it or you've never heard about her, understand that you are in the wrong. And you need to remedy that situation ASAP. So go check her out. So that's what's going on right now. Again, please hang around after the show. We're going to go out and raid somebody, and then come hang out with us over on our voice chat and shoot the shit with us for a couple hours or whatever, however length of time it takes. We are going to now get back to the festivities. I'm going to turn on the players' voices now.
Resub earlier, dear.
What?
By the way.
I know. I'm getting ready to do that.
Okay.
Cool.
Wow, let me do my job, people. God. So to everybody who's given bits, wow. I mean, we've got Harold going crazy. We have Firehawk going crazy. Jacob going crazy. Harold going crazy again. So many people with the bits. I'd like to give a shout out to the resubs. Jens is resubbed for a second month. Thank you so much. Temporary Sanity for the resub, tier 1 resub for a second month. Thank you for that. Super appreciate it. Dork Immortal, super appreciate the follow. Welcome to our unique, and yeah, sometimes, no, that's not, it's always dysfunctional around here. Philosopher Child, thank you for the follow again to you as well. Welcome to our unique and dysfunctional family. Super happy to have you here. To AFK2P, who's just been going nuts out there for gifting a tier 1 sub to Rainy Keys for her second month sub. To AFK again for gifting a tier 1 sub to the Herald. And again for AFK gifting a tier 1 sub to the most wonderful Devin Rue. Yes, the only thing I think that competes with my online love for Devin Rue more might be D&D Beyond, and that should be an indicator as to how damn cool that website is. Again, go ahead and type in the word D&D Beyond for a chance to win some dice. You have to be 13 or older and a member of the United States, or a citizen of the United States, or live in the United States, whatever, so I don't have to pay that crazy shipping. That would not be cool. So once we last left our adventurous band of brothers and sisters, Regina Wandegalt was fuming in the room of love, of locked, barred love. Having had Belton make his escape out through the window and make his way away, Wiki had been accosted by a baby owlbear. Talina is currently wrestling almost with a confused baby owlbear that seems to like pickles, and Bezumin is storming his way back to the table because those, damn it, are his pickles. So, Talina, you're standing there, you have the pickle in hand. The owlbear, the baby owlbear, is kind of flumping himself down in the wet, leathered, pickled stained or pickle juiced the booth. He reaches up with his 2 clawed, furry, feathered paws. He gives you a look and tilts his head. Very much, you could pick it up. I mean, you don't need to make any rolls. You know that he's begging for that pickle. He looks at that pickle, and then a little bit of a go ahead and roll me an insight on this one.
Natural 20.
You see his eye, his left, shift off by itself, very bird-like, to the now resealed barrel of pickles. And then he slowly brings that eye back to the pickle you have in your hand.
With the pickle in my hand, I'm kind of shaking at him. Don't even think about it.
His eye once again slides to the side. And you can see his paw slowly shift to the side as his weight kind of shifts a little bit to the side.
I'll go over to the pickle barrel.
Initiative. Again. Damn, this bear is having a hard time.
He just wants a pickle.
14.
14. You can see the owl bear's muscles tense under its furred and feather-lined quarters, its shoulders and down its legs, as it begins to furiously scrabble to go that way. Again, the moisture and his hard claws and the way that these wooden tables here are finished are not allowing him to gain purchase. As he kind of scrabbles at it furiously, kind of snarling and clacking at the barrel, you just simply reach over. Are you going to pull the barrel to you?
Yes.
As you pull the barrel over to him, his eyes get wide as his paws slide out. He lands in the booth and then slides off of the booth, and you hear him hit the floor with a loud "Hoo!" as you can hear him begin to kind of thrash around underneath. Bezemin, you get to the table. Talina has pulled the pickles to safety to her, and somewhere underneath the table is the cooing of the owlbear. Belton, you are left on the stairs. You have called your friends. You're probably a bit frantic or at least tense. The only one that seems to be coming your way is Wiki. The other two, there's the stranger and Talina, are overplaying with some kind of a fucking barrel and some damn owlbear.
Talina, damn it! Come here!
Just a minute. I have to take care of this.
All right, the big puddle of blood in the hallway can wait then.
Blood?
There's obviously a reason why I'm not fucking in the shower right now.
So
Can I move
Wearing
up to,
clothes.
has
I
Wiki
see-
reached up by Belton yet, or?
Yeah, you've made your way up to Belton. It wasn't that far, and you're not distracted by the owlbear.
What did you find, Belton? Is something wrong? You said
The
something
blood
about blood.
seemed to be seeping out from under the door there, right?
Yeah, it seemed to be seeping out, and it's been there for a while, enough for it to begin to coagulate in
So,
the
like, edges
hallway.
are starting to dry out.
Yeah, the edges are starting to
Get
dry
chunky.
out and crackly and chunky and that sort of thing.
There's a giant puddle of blood that looks to be seeping out from under. You said this was like 4 doors down from our
About 4
room?
doors down, yeah. You never actually looked up or indicated that you completely looked up, so you don't know if there's numbers or anything like that. But it's about 4 doors down.
A couple doors down from our room. And it looks like it's been there for a while because it's all chunky and starting to dry out.
Okay.
And so I figured, since I am naked, I should get some help.
Okay. Belton,
But apparently a fucking barrel's more important than whatever the fuck happened up there.
go get some clothes on. I'll go take a look at the blood and see where it's coming from. Okay? I'll go to move down the hallway looking for where the blood's coming from.
Wiki, you move past Belton and begin to make your way up the hallway. And as you get to the top of the stairs to the first hallway and you look down, you can see it. Now that he's pointed out kind of where it was at, you immediately come up and you look. And you can see that it is indeed a pretty extensive. It moves about a good third to half the way into the hallway from underneath the 4th door down on the left-hand side. You can see the light flickering in the lantern, still casting out illumination, and there's a couple lanterns further down. But the lantern that's sitting there is casting illumination. You can see it's got that kind of orange flicker of lantern light going across what appears to be some kind of coagulating crimson liquid that's seeped out from underneath the door itself. You can kind of pick up on the smell. There's an odd smell in the air. Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
That is going to be 20. Non-natural.
There is a smell in the air that you think you have indeed smelled at some other point. Like I said, you guys have been within the city of Storms, Port Stormhaven, for about 6 months or so. You have all stretched your legs, and not always 24/7 ran with each other. Wiki, you yourself, you have moved out a bit and explored more shadowy recesses within the city of the Port of Storms, making friends in low places, so to say. This smell, though, kind of baffles your senses, and you're not quite able to but you smell it. It's just underneath this strange tension that hangs in the air. This coppery, crimson, metallic, almost acrid smell that's coming off of the floor, and somewhere in the middle is this other smell that you can pick up on. Go ahead and roll me a history check.
Oh, natural 20.
Ooh.
Wow.
You've smelled this somewhere underneath the city of Storms, underneath Stormhaven. You've smelled this. You have picked up on it as not a cologne or a perfume, but you associate, your mind draws you underneath the city. Although, as you know, underneath the city, there are numerous different types of passageways that would qualify as a sewer system. You know that there are caverns and caves even further down beneath the city, but it was on one of your ventures down underneath there that you actually smelled it, and you think you may have smelled it someplace beneath, or no, it wasn't underneath. You've actually smelled this in a place known as the Dregs Quarter. The Dregs Quarter is a lower class, shadowy back wall kind of place. It's snugged up against the northern wall by one of the minor gates leading out of the Port of Storms. It leads out into rough, broken hill country and then eventually up into the mountains. Caressing that wall is this inky, oily, black mass of buildings, all squat and short. They're all dark from the various oil manufacturings and the other things that take place there. There is a place there called the Midnight Market that you have been to on 2 different occasions. And you know a lady there that has some rarer kind of ingredients and things like that you maybe have come to know, named Mistress Devenya. She deals primarily in things that subdue light, that coats weapons and that sort of stuff. And she is a follower of the Lady of Shadows, a minor priestess of sorts. But it was in the Dregs Quarter once you last smelled it. You can't exactly perfectly place it, but you know that it's from that area. You can see the blood there. You're standing at the top of the stairs. Belton, he moved past you to the top of the stairs, and you now know that he's standing in the hallway. Talina and Bezumin, what are you going to do? We know what Regina is doing. She's locked in a room.
I'm gonna turn to see where Bezemin is at.
Okay. You turn. Yeah, he's right there. As you turn, Bezemin appears at the edge of the table.
I'm gonna hand him the pickle that's in my hand.
And
You
as
might want to do something with the barrel.
as you hand him that pickle, Bezemin, you feel something wet, very wet, press by your leg. You hear this kind of sound come out from underneath the table as this heavy matted pickle smell, almost like that of the smell of a wet dog, nature, a bird, and a pickle comes wafting up out from underneath the table as this baby owlbear pushes by you quickly and deftly, turns around, raises up, planting its paws on the edge of the table. It sees the pickle immediately and looks at it, putting out this
You want the pickle? Be nice. No. Sit. Down. Down.
roll of persuasion.
Damn it.
Train that baby bear.
Ooh, 20. Not net, but
As you're telling him, you're holding the pickle and you're telling him down. He's and he looks at the pickle, looks back at you, and he pulls his paws away from the table, kind of sitting there, and plops down on his rump. You can hear the rump hit the solid floor with a little bit of sloshing and a splash of pickle juice. It sits there, its paws out in front.
good. I'll break it in half and toss him half of it.
He opens his mouth. Wow. Catches it and gulps it down, and immediately his eyes focus in on the other half.
Eat the other half.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Be nice and I will share. Be nice.
He kind of gets up and looks like he's gonna look at the table, like he's gonna get up to get up onto the table. Looks back at you. Walks over to you, gives kind of a half-hearted nuzzle into your leg, walks past you, gets up into the booth next to you, Talina, and he raises up, puts his big paws up onto your shoulders in kind of a bear hug fashion and smears you with pickle juice. When he does this, you hear this kind of sound as he plops back down and sits there looking at you.
As he sits down, I'll pet him on the head. Good, very good.
You see this happening, Belton.
I'm gonna head back up the stairs and just shaking my head again because I have no idea what the fuck's going on anymore. Apparently, Rails got cursed too, and puddles of blood aren't important.
You make your way back up the stairs, coming to stand next to your good friend, the one who seems to care, Wiki Wobble Fizz, as he's kind of looking over, kind of smelling the air a little bit as you approach him.
There's something else other than blood here. Some other smell. Can't quite place it, but I know it's something from the Dregs quarter.
I just smell the blood. Can I try and make a perception check now that he's pointed out there might be something else there?
I don't think that even with him pointing it out that you would understand what it was you were looking for scent wise.
Okay.
You kind of have to have been familiar with it to be able to pick it up.
Is
That's
my room nearby as well?
Your room is like I said, the hallway that you guys are looking down is this way, and your room's off to the right hand side.
I think we should retrieve our things. You should get dressed just in case, and then we can see what's going on in here. I mean,
sounds like a
it's
good idea.
looking drying, like it's drying. So
It's definitely been
doubt
for a
any-
while.
let's say I doubt there's anybody in there, but or at least
Well,
anybody
there's
living.
somebody in there, obviously. They're probably still not alive.
Yeah, I think we should get our weapons. You should put some clothes on. No, really, please put some clothes on. Turn around and walk
Really?
towards our room.
You don't think this napkin looks good on me? And I'm
I
going to
just
start
keep-
kind of stomping down the hallway to my room. Like, I'm just shaking my head. This is the worst day of my life.
Also, Belton, for your performance earlier when you grabbed onto Talina, I'm going to give you inspiration.
Yeah? Yes!
So Talina and Bezemin, you're still downstairs. You notice that Wiki's disappeared upstairs with Belton. You do remember that Belton did have a look of urgency on his face. It seems that your owlbear and the pickles are both secured.
Yeah, so now that he's kind of, or it is settled down, I'm gonna kind of sneak myself out of the booth and go see what he was making such a fuss about.
Okay, as what are you going to do, Bezemin?
You gonna go check on Belton, I assume?
Yes.
Talina? All right. Let's go. Let's go find out what's going on.
As the two of you make your way across the remaining inn floor, you hear the soggy, wet, padding paws of the owlbear following behind you. Eventually, you can feel its kind of a moist head, Talina, kind of snuzzle underneath your hand, and it begins to pad along with you. Every once in a while, it gives off a little as you guys make your way up the stairs. You come to the top of the stairs, and in front of you is the hallway that goes down to what you have know as being servants' quarters, and then the other hallway leads you down towards your rooms, your actual rooms themselves. Regina, are you still looking? You're going to be looking for a way to get out of here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so what'd you roll for an investigation?
I rolled a 17.
You know that yeah, that windowsill is probably a tad bit too high, but you do know that hanging silken rope next to the door is what Grillmesh had informed you and Belton as being a way to get out of the room. That might give you access to once again gather up your hunky halfling into your arms, if you could get that to work and get your way out of here.
Am I tall enough to reach it?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, after getting my garbs situated, I'm gonna collect myself and take a deep breath and straighten out the front of my shirt a little bit, kind of in a nervous tick kind of thing after everything I've just been through, and I'm still not happy. I'm gonna brush the front of my shirt down a little bit, and I'm gonna walk over to the door there, and I'm gonna grab that silken rope, and I'm gonna tug 3 times on it to see if I can get out.
Okay. You grab it, and you don't hear necessarily any sound. You can feel that it does have a point when you pull it down to where it stops, and you can feel that there's weight up in where it disappears to, but you don't hear it making any sounds whatsoever. Belton and Wiki, you guys dip into the room that you're both sharing, closing the door, and Belton, you're able to begin getting cleaned up and all of that stuff. Wiki, you're able to get your weapons. Bezemin and Talina, you kind of come up to the top of the stairs. Roll me a perception check, please.
16.
23.
Holy cow. When you come up to the top of the stairs, both of you, somewhere down the hallway, hear a faint ringing bell sound. It chimes dong, dong, dong 3 times as it echoes and traces its way down around the corner, down the hallway where your rooms are at, down to you. You, Talina, when you hear that bell, you also notice in front of you in the hallway, there's an odd something or other on the floor. You can see what appears to be a puddle or a pool of liquid that has a slight crimson tinge to it that's being illuminated by the lantern hanging from a wrought iron hook across the hallway from it. The light flickers and dances across it, exposing cracks and the fact that this liquid is drying out in a strange way. You look at it for just a split second and you recognize that it is indeed blood. Belton didn't say anything about this. He just motioned for you to come upstairs. He did mention the fact that there's a pool of blood, and it's very possible that that's what he is looking at, or what he was talking about.
I'll approach the door, making sure not to step in any of the liquid.
Okay, you see this, Bezemin, as Talina begins to kind of separate from you and walk her way down the hallway.
This is disturbing.
Very. And when I get to the door, does it have like a latch, or is it just
There is a latch, but in order to get to, well, you can get to the latch. But as you look at the latch, because it's a little bit higher than what you are, as you look at it, something just above the latch as you're closer to the door catches your eye. As you look up at it, you see a small golden plaque, like a name plaque upon the door. You can see etched into it, it's obviously brass or something similar to that. But as you look at it, you can see etched into it very finely the word Headman on the door. You've heard, or at least you think you've heard, this being called out in this particular inn. Talina, do me a favor and roll me a history.
That one not so good. History. That would be a 3.
No, you've heard the name. You think you've heard it in here, but you've heard so much in 6 months. This place is bustling and hustling left and right. This is one of, like I said, only 2 days that you've ever seen this place this empty. It's there in the back of your mind, but it quickly fades away. You see the latch for the door, and you can reach it. You got to kind of get up on your tiptoes a bit.
I'm gonna check the handle to see if there's any like smears of blood or anything like that on it, or
go ahead and roll me an investigation.
Because I don't want to be getting my hands all yucky with stuff.
As the owlbear pushes past you, both of its paws coming to rest in the puddle of blood, it lowers its head and begins to lick up the blood on the floor. What'd you roll for an investigation?
11.
You kind of tell it not to, it looks up at you kind of.
You don't know what's in it.
And it kind of takes a couple steps back and flops itself down. So what'd you roll for an investigation?
11.
11. No, you don't see anything. No marks. No residual stuff. No anything that's been left behind.
Okay, I'll test the latch to see. If
As you're looking, Bezemin, Are you paying attention? Or are you kind of using your eyes or whatever to search out to see if you can pick up on anything?
Yeah, I don't really know. The door, the bottom of the door. You know, can I tell how old this blood is?
Probably in the last 12 to 14 hours.
Oh, so that old. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'll just pay attention to Talina and make sure nothing happens.
All right. Talina, you reach out to put your hand. You got a 13, was that right? Or an 11? 13? 13?
11.
11. Okay. As you reach out to put your hand on to the door latch, it's a curved brass handled with one of those thumb press kind of mechanisms to open it. And as you put your hand on it and you press down, it seems to be locked. However, you feel a pinprick of pain on your thumb.
Pull my hand away and look to see if I'm bleeding.
As you pull your hand away, you don't see yourself bleeding, but you do notice that there is a black, oily, viscousy kind of liquid now impressioned on your thumb. Roll me a constitution check, please.
21.
21. You feel and you see veins of black, inky, thick liquid kind of begin to trace where your veins are at, and it begins to work up your hand and comes into your wrist. You can feel it. You can feel your heart kind of begin to slow, not quicken. You can feel maybe a bead of sweat produce itself upon your brow and begin to run down into your eyebrow. And then you take in kind of a deep breath. And your body immediately fights back against whatever this poison was, pushing it away. You find yourself a bit woozy for a few seconds. It was definitely poison, and now that you're aware of it, you can see where there are driplets of this liquid that have been placed on the door handle itself.
Trying to think if there's anything I can use from my pack.
Belton, Wiki, you both dressed, armed, ready. Are you going to exit back out into the hallway?
Yes.
Yep.
Right, the both of you exit back out into the hallway. Regina, it does not appear that anybody is coming to rescue you. Are you going to try pulling the cord again?
I'll pull it 3 more times, a little bit more aggressive in frustration because I want out.
Okay. As the two of you guys enter into the hallway, you definitely hear it. Talina and Bezemin, please roll me another perception check.
25.
Wow. You just heard that church mouse fart down the street.
15.
15. So you both hear again. Bong. 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 3 times, harder and heavier than before. There is what appears, Bezemin, you can pick up on it, an urgency, almost an alarm-like urgency, as this bell sound curves around from somewhere you can't see, comes down the hallway, and washes over the back of you and Talina. Talina, you heard it. Bezemin, you can pick up on the urgency. Wiki, you hear it coming down the hallway. It comes around the corner and down the hallway. Belton, you have a pretty damned good idea what this is.
She stays in there until we get this figured out and I have a chance to talk to you all. Yes?
He says this to you, Wiki.
Well, they're
Is
only
that
what,
what that
4 doors
is?
down.
No, you
So-
guys are down the hallway. They're at the blood.
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
the blood was
you're
only
in
4
your
doors away
room.
from.
No, the blood was four doors down this hallway. You guys are off the hallway towards where
Okay.
Regina's at. Yeah,
we went
so,
back down the other hallway. Yeah.
So yeah, that's just a wiki then.
So that's what that is. That's Regina in the other room.
Yes, and she's gonna stay there for a little bit longer until we can figure out what the hell's going on, who cursed us, and how to fix it.
Okay, let's figure out what this blood is first, and then we go get Regina.
So the
She
two of you are
can't
gonna
stay in
head.
there forever.
Two of you are gonna head back down to where the blood was at.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Bezemin, Talina, you hear the bell. Bezemin, you can definitely pick up, but there's a bit of an urgency to that bell.
Talina, are you okay?
I'm fine.
All right. I'm gonna go figure out what the heck that is.
All right. Maybe it's an alarm. Maybe someone else found something.
Quite possibly, or someone is stuck. Who knows? Anyway, I'm gonna go figure it out, and I'll be right back.
Wiki,
Okay.
Belton, Bezemin, you guys almost collide into each other. Wiki and Belton, you're coming around the corner as this lanky elf comes around the other corner. You know him, Wiki. Belton, you haven't been introduced to him, and he moves to get around you as you guys kind of round the corner going opposite directions.
Hey, no,
Pardon me. Pardon me.
who the hell is this
Desmond,
guy,
Desmond.
Wiki?
He's a friend. Mother Adamira from the Abbey of the Four Winds sent him to help us. She had a box for us too, which we apparently left downstairs.
Along with Cedric's thumb again.
Bezemin, that's Regina in the other room
And
locked
she
up.
will be staying there
She
for a little
seems
bit.
she seems to be under the effects of some type of love potion or curse.
Oh,
So I don't know if we want to free her just yet. It might cause even more problems at the moment.
There's no might there. I am not looking forward to seeing her again before we get this curse lifted.
gotcha.
So
All right. I will leave it be then.
Good.
So the three of you come around the corner to join Talina at the doorway. You all see the bugbear, the owl bear sitting there in the hallway. Kind of, he's just kind of sitting there, like looking up at or looking over at Talina. Every once in a while, his paw, like the claws, he kind of takes his pinky, what would be his pinky claw, and wraps it lightly on the floor.
I am going to use Mage Hand
Okay.
to open the door.
Again, the door is locked.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yes.
I thought I just stopped because of the
Nope.
prick
Nope,
my
nope.
thumb. Well, in my years of being out and about, I have gained a few things, so I'm going to pick the lock.
So do you have your locks, picks, tools?
Of course, in my pouch.
All right. All right. Fine.
Is that
Jeez.
sleight of hand then?
Yeah.
Okay. Natural 20 plus 11, so 31.
Wow. As you guys come around the corner, you see the owl bear and you see Talina quickly and deftly reach into a pouch, pull out a small envelope-sized leather-wrapped thing. Both you and Wiki, you Belton and you Wiki, you both recognize immediately what it is. You've seen her use these before. She folds it out, and you can see also, Bezemin, that there appear to be tools. You've been around. You know that these are obviously picks. You take out the ones that you think you're going to need. You go to work, and almost instantly, you definitely hear click, click, and the lock release itself.
Kind of push on the door to open it up.
You're gonna put your picks away?
Well, yeah.
Okay, well, you're gonna put your
Gotta
picks
put it back
away.
in my pouch.
You click down on the thumb lever again.
No. I'm not that dumb.
You've got mage hand up, don't you?
Yes, I have mage hand up. I'm gonna
Use
that
mage
too.
hand to do it.
The
Yeah,
door
exactly.
the door moves as if it's unlocked, but it hits something solid on the inside. Something that
Okay.
stops the door handily.
About how far does it open? Like 2-3 inches or
Not
6
even an
inches?
inch. It
wow.
it still hasn't even cleared the doorway itself. It moves. You can tell that it's unlocked, but it literally moves like that much and hits something.
Did you get it open, Talina?
It's open, but there is something blocking right behind the door. So we may have to push a little bit to get it open.
I imagine it's whatever is the source of all that blood.
Most likely.
You want to make yourself useful and get the door? I mean, that's what you're here to do, right? Is help us?
Yes, I am. So, yeah, I'll try and push the door open.
Okay,
Put my shoulder
are you,
into it a bit.
are you gonna try and avoid the blood?
Don't
The
touch
blood?
the handle.
Yes.
All right. So you lean in. You got your legs kind of spread a little bit to each side, and you lean into it. Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Uh, 23.
Just by putting your shoulder into it and feeling the way the door moves, and you kind of begin to press into it a little bit, kind of in a testing manner, getting ready to lay your weight into it, you can tell that whatever is laying on the other side is several 100 pounds.
Huh. This door's not going to budge. Whatever's on the other
Okay.
side is a very heavy
So
thing.
what you're saying is you're useless.
What he's
Belton,
saying, Belton, is
quit
that we're going to have to
being
find another
grumpy.
way into the.
You talk to me after being cursed and spending a night of with one of your best friends, and then get back to me about how you feel the next morning. Yeah.
I'm about ready to throw you back in there. I turn. I'm going to go in and
Try it,
see if
Wiki.
the neighboring door is locked or not. The room next to this one.
The neighboring room, the one that's locked, that's next to this one, as you approach it, you can see that there is another plaque above this one that says simply maid's room, and then the number 1 underneath of it. You reach your hand out and grab the door handle, and it feels like as you click down on it, the door itself is definitely locked still.
I'll attempt to knock on it and see if there's anybody inside.
You knock a couple times. There's no answer from the inside of it. Your knock kind of hollowly goes past the door and into the room.
Talina, maybe there's a window. And go out one window and into the other. That's what I was thinking.
Or we could go downstairs, talk to the barkeep, and ask him if he could have someone come up and open the rest of the rooms.
We could do that.
Reporting a murder is probably the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the right thing to do. We should probably get Grillmish. Where is he at? I haven't seen him
Grillmish
since
is
last night.
Recovering. He has found out some very bad news. Leave him be for now.
Wiki,
And I'm gonna-
Bezumin, and Belton, roll me a perception check and hold those rolls for a second. Regina, nobody is coming to your aid. Your love is somewhere out in this world. He's getting further away. You're sure of it, and this is beginning to anger you even more. Your anger growing rapidly inside of you. What are you going to do?
Is that door soundproof?
You're not sure.
Okay. I am royally pissed at this point. I want out. The cord's not working. I'm too short to get out the damn window. I'm going to bang as hard as I can with my little fists on that door and scream at the top of my lungs, "Let me out! Let me out!" And I'm going to keep repeating it and just bang away on that door.
As you begin to hammer away on this door, you hammer it hard enough that these dull thuds ring into the wood itself. You're not sure if you're getting out or not, and this angers you even more. A rage begins to brew and grow inside of you. You can see in your mind's eye this raging storm brewing over some great gray granite mountains. And coming with that storm, slamming on the ground, its mighty paws, creating gashes in the ground, earthquake-like fissures forming and coming off of it. You realize that this bear is easily half as big as some of these mountains. You feel your love twist inside of your vacant heart, your anger furiously building to a crescendo-like rage inside of you. You can feel your flesh warming and beginning to boil heatedly. Do you let go and let this rage wash over you?
Oh, indeed I do.
A snarl, bear-like, erupts from your clenched teeth as you draw back first one hand and then the other, and now as you bring them forward, this rage washes over you. You feel a strange warmth coming over you, and as the first fist comes forward, you're not shocked in the least to see a mighty bear's paw. And as you strike it, you see chunk of wood break away from it. And as you bring the other one forward to slam into the door, you feel another chunk of wood tear away from the door. But this one higher up on the door. You look down, kind of confused, an animalistic rage now pulsing through your body. You look down to see a bear's form. You're standing now as you look back up, eye level to where the slot is at. You reach back, giving into this rage, slam with a mighty roar, and lever the door right off of the hinges. You hear this twisting metal, the cracking and snapping of wood, and you let out this furious roar from your deep, bare lungs. There's no need for a perception. All four of you standing in that hallway hear this roar break forth, break out, and rumble down the hallway. You hear metal rending from metal, wood snapping and tearing from wood as this bear calls out down the hallway, flooding. You can hear anger as the wood slams into the ground, and you can hear these huge paws just slamming down the hallway, coming in your general direction. The owlbear, the baby owlbear at your knees, more or less, lets out this huge, surprised, scared, gurgling gargle out of its mouth, its eyes big in terror. It runs right into you, Talina, slams into you, and tries its best to hide behind you, peeking out from around you, its big, bright, wide eyes in terror. It starts to tremble, and it trembles so hard that it's rattling the door that's partially open and rattling you. It is terrified of whatever the hell this is. Regina, you've lost your mind, your anger and rage entirely too much. It's a primal rage that rips through you as you come charging down the hallway. You guys can all hear this great beast-like slamming of paws and claws on the wood coming down the hallway towards you. What are the four of you going to do? You're in this hallway, there's a puddle of blood and a very scared baby owlbear.
Wow. I am going to put my arm around the owlbear and start hauling ass downstairs.
Yep, let's go ahead and roll some initiative, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh, shnikes.
Oh, God. Roll a nat 20 to pick the lock, but I roll a 2 for initiative, which gives me a 7.
So starting with, I've already got Regina's initiative because I'm rolling for her because she's out of control. Wiki.
Natural 20.
Wow,
Woo.
nice. Talina.
That was a 7.
Belton.
13.
13. Bezeman.
21.
21. All right. So, Wiki, what is your dexterity? What's your bonus? Your dexterity. What's your dexterity?
Dexterity. It's +2.
I need to know the score, actually. Just
14.
14. All right. So, Wiki, your blood pumps. You don't know what the hell is going on now. You know that there's this thing of blood on the floor, that there's something blocking your way in. There's a scared owl bear. You just got a chance to watch Belton clean himself in the room. Nothing's right, at least not the way it should be. And now some great giant beast is charging down the hallway of the inn towards you, and your muscles tense, and you start to move when this gigantic shape fills the hallway at the top of the stairs. In this one area, you can see this bear raging, foaming at the mouth, its great Kodiak-like head filling the space as it pushes and blocks off your escape. A loud sound comes out of the baby owlbear, and you can feel it begin to tremble, and it grabs onto your leg, Regina, and it's just trembling as it's cooing this excited, terrified coo. This bear stands there, shakes its head back and forth, stomping the ground, giving every indication that you guys are entirely its next meal, and then it shifts. The bear slowly shrinking away in size to reveal a very furious, tear-streaked face of Regina Wandegalt, naked, trembling, fists clenched, vibrating with anger and fury in her eyes. She stands before you. Regina, go ahead and roll me a perception. We're going to see if you recognize these individuals.
14.
14, you do. You see Talina. You see this other figure. You see Wiki Wobblefizz, and you see Belton Cobblebolt. What are you going to do?
I'm trembling, and I know that I was angry, and it pissed me off, and it scared me. And in a shaky voice, I'm just going to say, I told you to let me out.
Regina, calm down.
I'm going to kind of step behind Belton and just
I'm gonna start
push him
backing away.
forward.
Bezeman,
You've been cursed.
standing in front of you is a completely naked, raging gnome.
I'm a gnome bear.
180 and walking the other way. Just walking away. I'm going back downstairs.
Regina, you've been cursed. Just take a breath. calm down, stop by the room, put some clothes on, come downstairs. We can have some breakfast, talk this out, and figure out how to fix this.
I'm going to glare with every fiber of my being at you. I'm not talking
I'm gonna
to you
start
right now. And I'm going to walk angrily and slow with my fists clenched all the way to my room and just glare at both of you. More so at Belton, with tears streaming down my face because I am royally pissed.
And Regina disappears down the other hallway. You can feel her eyes still, Belton, boring into you as she vanishes back the way she came. No longer a bear, but the fury is still there. Hey, Fire Fiends, thank you so much for hosting our stream. Super welcome, everybody. From down the stairs, you hear, what is this distraction? What is this noise that I am hearing? As you hear footfalls making their way up the stairs, you see that dark-haired, pointed, goateed figure, slender, a mixture of goblin and elven features upon his face, something that's definitely screams that he's from someplace other than Aetheln for sure. He is dressed very much like a foppish butler in a way. Bright green shirt underneath. He's got an ascot tucked in. You can see that he's got white gloves on that disappear into a button shirt. He's got a long, kind of loose-fitting vest upon him that is a checker pattern of a motley different amount of colors that comes down. He's got a long coat on and long pants that go down to incredibly highly shined shoes. As he makes his way to the top, you can see his sparkling eyes and his very fine features, although, like I said, mixed between that of a goblin and an elf or an elf-like creatures. Long ears that come out from his hair and curl back. You can see that he's got a couple of earrings attached to them. A very fine nose that kind of comes down almost hawk-like, but the nostrils themselves are splayed out and a little bit wider. What is it that is going on? And he kind of stops when he looks and sees. You can see as Regina turns and walks away. That is a bit odd. Excuse me. What is all the trouble? We are getting complaints downstairs from the kitchen. Who are all you?
I'm Wiki Wobblefrizz. I'm a friend of Azura's. We all are.
Oh, yes. And he pulls, like, almost out of nowhere, this book appears in his hand. Like, he pulls it, like, out of the vest pocket almost, and it grows in his hand. He flips it open, and the pages kind of turn by their own. And a pen appears in his hand, and he begins to scream, oh, yes. I would like to introduce myself. I am Poupin Marie. I am the co-owner of this fine establishment. And like I said, I have people downstairs that are complaining to me about all the ruckus up here. And he points down the hallway. And if I may be so bold as to ask, what the hell was that?
That was our friend Regina, apparently very upset.
I mean, to be fair, it went better than I thought it was going to.
She was a bear.
I was not expecting that.
How does that happen? She turned into a bear?
I don't know. Maybe it's part of the curse.
Okay. I'll turn to the gentleman who's come up. There appears to be a dead person in one of the rooms. It actually says Headman on the plaque on the
When
door.
you say the word Headman, you see his eyes snap wide. And when his eyes snap wide, you can see the dark sparkling irises that seem to dance between brown, black, blue, and green. And there's a rainbow sheen to where his whites are. They're still white, but there's a rainbow bit of a sheen, and you can immediately feel the air begin to electrify just a bit as his wife. Please move. Please, Papa Marie must get in there. And he moves past you, pressing you quite roughly out of the way. And when he reaches out and his hands come near you, they're not quite touching you, but you do feel there's this jolt of arcane kind of energy around this figure. He presses a hand out and the door creaks. You hear something shift behind it. The door opens up a good solid foot. This cannot be. I have just returned. And he steps inside the room and a howl erupts from inside the room. You can hear in the howl anger, this distraught emotion, panic, all sorts of different emotions as its head comes out. What do you know about this here? And go fetch me Black Barrel. Go get the dwarf for me, please. You can see a single tear tracing away down his cheek. What do you know of this?
I'm gonna walk back towards the door. We just saw the blood on the floor and we're going to report it, and then of course Regina burst out of the room. We know nothing.
He reaches a hand, slim, long arm, reaches out, snaps towards you, and goes to grab you. Are you going to move away from it, or are you going to take it?
I'll take it.
He grabs onto you and you feel yourself lighten almost instantly, and he pulls, and you guys see this, at least Wiki and Bezumin see this as he pulls you into the room. When he pulls you into the room, you can see that there's a glow in the room, but you do not see any light source whatsoever. It's a very much magical light that is kind of shimmering and holding in the air, but it's enough to illuminate what is in here. Belton, you make your way downstairs, you turn the corner, and you see the heavy multi-braided beard, the shimmering sheened black hair, and the heavy apron across the broad shoulders of the bartender known as Black Barrel. You've seen him before. He's a very large, gruff, rough, kind of hard drinking type of a gentleman, and he's turning and making his way away from the bar. In other words, moving towards you, and his eyes land on yours.
Black Barrel, I hate to impose, but Papa Marie is requesting your presence upstairs. He is rather upset. We just discovered the dead body of somebody upstairs. Regina mentioned a name, but I didn't catch it.
Out of my way, lad. And he immediately, his body shifts as he squares up his shoulders and begins to thunder past you quickly. As he thunders past you, you see a warhammer appear in his hand as if out of nowhere. At this point, you begin to get the distinct feeling that this place is obviously, even after 6 months, that there's so many layers to this onion, so to say. And as he turns to head up the stairs, the warhammer comes to a rest upon his shoulder, and you can see enough of it to see that it is, the main head of it is black iron going down into a black wooden handle. On each side of the warhammer itself, you see a screaming open giant's head that's fashioned into each side of it, both of them in silver. And you can see dancing across the black head, going back and forth through it, are arcane blue lightning-like colored jags of lightning. Each time it hits, it reveals a rune, a very hard carved, what you would assume to be a dwarven rune, as he makes his way up the stairs.
Can I make an arcana check to recognize the magic that's going
It
on.
happens. It happens so fast that you just pick up on it. Talina standing inside the room next to this individual that introduced himself as Popin Marie. You see laying on the ground, kind of now turned over to the side, a very large, long, tall figure that's laying there against the door, kind of pressed in. The door kind of shuts as you see Popin Marie reach his hands down. He chants, "L'océan, c'est petit fond." Blah. And as he says that, the body turns a little bit towards you. Your jaw slackens, your eyes grow a little bit wide as you see the now dead body of your butler, Grillmesh. And that is where we will leave off this week. I'm going to cut it here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I super appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed our antics tonight. We have just discovered the dead body of Grillmesh. Please do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around just a little bit. We're going to find out who wins that second Dice Cup dice set from Easy Roller Dice. And then we're going to bounce out there and we are going to drop a raid on another one of the fine D&D folks that are out there. I have a target in mind. So first off, here we go. We're going to roll for the dice. Pow! Stump-o-matic! Stump, are you out there, my good man? All right. Well, I will shoot a message to Stump-o-matic for sure. Let him know that he won himself some dice. Hey, Stump! All right, man. If you do me a favor, Stump, and send me your wonderful shipping address to me over there on our Discord, you know the routine, and I'll get those dice out to you. Again, we're looking for players in a couple different spots and a couple different upcoming games. If you'd like to join in on us, all you have to do is be a follower here on our channel, drop in on our Discord, let me know that you're interested in playing, and we'll see if we can't work something out. I want to go ahead and give again more shout outs to Rophilosoph, who's dropped the follow. Thank you. Welcome to our unique and dysfunctional family. Please stick around for the raid, ladies and gentlemen. Fire Fiends, thank you for that wonderful host of the 6 viewers. Super appreciate that. Please do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen. After we do this raid and we share the love, would you guys please come over, jump over on our Discord? A bunch of us are going to go over there, hang out in the voice chat for at least an hour or so, maybe a little bit longer, and get a chance to get to know you. You can ask questions about what the hell we're doing here on this channel and all that good stuff. So do me a favor and hang out for the raid, and then come over and join us on Discord. I'm going to send it around the horn, starting with Regina.
I am entertained at the fact that I got so pissed off I turned into a bear. That was pretty cool. A little spooky. Makes me wonder if maybe I'll be able to befriend that little baby owlbear yet.
Wiki.
I'm glad I didn't get eaten by a baby owlbear. And I'm also glad to finally be armed again in case something does go down where I want to be armed.
Nice. Belton.
Belt doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Yesterday everything was fine, and now everything is fucked.
Selena.
I am absolutely happy, like, as a player, to know that Popin Marie is going to be part of this again, because I love that character.
Missed him.
As Talina, the owlbear is just fucking awesome. And we did save some of the pickles.
No, I mean,
so
directly
we're
behind.
gonna have to work something out with the elf here, about using some of the pickles to train the owlbear. But we'll get there.
Underneath the wheel.
Bezeman.
This owlbear will be trained. It will behave. I will make sure of it.
We're gonna have to make
Alright.
a casting platform for me and Wiki on there.
Players, if you guys can go ahead and hang out for us just a little bit after this, and then we'll jump over into the voice chat. To all you, thank you for watching. This has been The Long Road, episode 10. This is The Forge. This is Forge at the Table. I have been Charles. These have been your players. You guys have been our wonderful followers, viewers, and subscribers. We thank you. We love you. Please come hang out with us over on our Discord this evening. That's a new thing that we started doing to get to know you guys a little bit better. And please join the raid. And speaking of raid, let's go pay some love to the guys over at Castle Mac. Gotta hope they're still on. Yep, they are. Good. That would have been sucky. All right. Come on, everybody. Join in on the raid with me, please. Come over and share some love with the guys over at Castle Mac. Really cool channel, really good people. Let's go share some love.
Oh, wow.
All right, we're bringing. It looks like we're bringing 17 people.
And then we'll try to shoot from the sniper's hide.
Here we go. Raids away.
Hashtag blessed. Yeah.
All right.
26. Oh, yeah.
Let's drop some anvils on these guys.
Motherfucker steal my kill. 7 damage.